Why day needs night. Have you ever stopped to think about what the day truly means? And what about the night? We usually see them as separate things, light and dark, coming one after the other. But here's the thing, day really needs night to make sense. Without the darkness, light wouldn't feel so special, would it? It's a bit like how we only know what up means because there's also a down. One helps us understand the other. Think about it this way. For a long time, people have known this. Old stories from different cultures often talk about balance, about how two opposites actually complete each other. It's not just about one thing being good and the other bad. It's about how they need each other to exist, to give meaning. Day is bright and full of action, and night is quiet, a time for rest. But without night's rest, the day's energy would quickly burn out. Imagine you've been working really hard on a big school project all day. You've used your brain, your hands, all your energy. You feel tired but also proud. When evening comes, and the world outside gets dark and calm, that quiet time becomes so important. You can finally put your books down, close your eyes, and just be still. That rest in the dark isn't just nice, it's necessary. It helps your mind and body get ready for the next day, for more light and more work. If it was always bright, always busy, we'd never truly appreciate the chance to pause, to just breathe. So, the darkness of night isn't just an absence of light. It's a space that makes the light valuable. It holds stillness, dreams, and quiet reflection. And that quiet allows us to truly be ready for the new light of morning. It reminds us that balance is everywhere, and both sides, even if they seem opposite, are vital to life. The sadness in joyful moments. Have you ever felt a strange mix of feelings, even during moments that are supposed to be purely joyful? Like a tiny shadow, a quiet hum of sadness, hidden deep within a truly happy experience. Here's the thing, sometimes, even when we're celebrating a big win or enjoying a perfect day, we also feel a gentle ache. It's not that we're unhappy, it's more like our hearts know this moment is fleeting, that it will pass. This isn't about being pessimistic. It's about our deep human awareness that everything changes, that time keeps moving, always. This idea isn't new. People through history, from ancient poets to thinkers, have noticed this bittersweet truth. They understood that beauty and happiness often come with the knowledge that time keeps moving. This isn't about being gloomy, it's just part of being human, recognizing that everything changes. Think about the last day of summer vacation. The sun is warm, you're with friends, maybe playing outside or hanging out. You're totally in the moment, having a great time. But underneath all that fun, there's a small, quiet feeling. It's the knowledge that tomorrow, this freedom will end, that the long, lazy days are giving way to school. You're happy, yes, but also a little sad that it's all wrapping up. This mix of feelings might seem like a contradiction. How can joy and sadness exist at the same time? But here's what I found. This quiet sadness doesn't take away from the joy. Instead, it makes happy moments richer, deeper. It reminds us to truly appreciate them, to hold on to them, because we know how precious and temporary they are. It's a gentle reminder that life is always moving, always changing, and that's okay. Asterisk. Being lost, finding your way. Have you ever felt truly lost? Not just lost in the woods, but lost in your own thoughts, or unsure of where you fit in. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? You're standing right here, in this moment, yet it feels like you're nowhere at all. This feeling, this being lost, is a deep contradiction. You exist, you breathe, but your direction, your purpose, feels hidden. Think about it. How can you be completely present, but also completely adrift? It's a puzzle our minds wrestle with for a long time. People have felt this way. Ancient thinkers, exploring vast unknown lands, probably felt this same deep uncertainty. They had to navigate by stars they barely understood, and in a way, we do too. We navigate our lives by beliefs and feelings we're still figuring out. Here's the thing, sometimes, being lost is the very first step toward finding something new. Imagine a compass. When you pick it up, the needle often spins wildly for a bit. It doesn't instantly point north. It has to search, to twitch and dance, before it settles. That wild, spinning moment, that's the lost part. It's part of the process. It's not broken. It's just getting ready to show you the way. Life can be a bit like that spinning compass. When you feel unsure, when you don't know what comes next, it can be scary. But that very moment of uncertainty often pushes you to look harder, to ask questions you might not have asked before. It makes you curious. Maybe the contradiction of feeling lost while also being exactly where you are is actually a quiet invitation, an invitation to explore, to learn, to discover parts of yourself and the world you never knew were there. And that's how you begin to find your way. Why we want what we can't have. You ever noticed how the one thing you can't have seems to shine the brightest? Like a book behind locked glass, or a secret room your parents told you not to enter. It's a strange pull, isn't it? We might not even think about it, but as soon as it's out of reach, it becomes the most interesting thing. Denying us something makes it more desirable. Our minds put a higher value on things that are hard to get, or things that are forbidden. This idea is old, woven into human stories for ages. Think about classic tales, like the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden, or the myth of Pandora's box. Both are about something meant to be untouched, yet forbidding it made it intensely appealing. There's a deep thought in us that what's kept away holds special power, a hidden truth. It's not just about the item itself, it's also about what it represents. Maybe freedom, or knowledge, or something unique. When something is hard to get, or we're told we can't have it, our curiosity and challenge kick in. We imagine possibilities beyond that barrier. It feels like a puzzle waiting for us to solve. Imagine your favorite video game. Picture a super rare item only a few players ever get, or a hidden level that's incredibly hard to find. The harder it is to get, the more you dream about it, right? It becomes legendary in your mind. And when you finally do get it, the feeling is so much stronger. That's because the challenge, the scarcity, made it shine. It made you want it more. So, here's the thing about wanting what we can't have. It's a quiet hum inside us, a natural part of being human. This longing often points to something deeper than just owning an object. Maybe it's not truly about getting the thing itself, but about the chase, the mystery, the idea of something perfect just beyond our grasp. It reminds us that sometimes the most valuable things aren't what we possess, but what we endlessly imagine, what we reach for, even if we never grasp it. It's a feeling that pushes us to explore, to wonder, and to dream. The loudness of silence. Have you ever noticed that sometimes silence isn't quiet at all? It's a strange idea, right? We usually think silence means no sound, just an empty space. But here's the thing, true silence can feel incredibly loud. It can be full of thoughts, strong feelings, or even the soft hum of the world around us. For a long time, smart people have seen this puzzle. They knew that when things quiet down outside, our inside world often gets much louder. Think about ancient thinkers or people who meditate. They went to very quiet places. They weren't looking for nothingness. Instead, they wanted to hear something else, like their own mind, or a deep truth that's usually hidden by everyday noise. It's like turning off all the music so you can finally hear your own breathing. Imagine you're alone in your room late at night. Everyone else is sleeping, and the world outside is still. You can't hear cars or people talking. In that deep quiet, suddenly you might notice the soft buzz of the refrigerator, the faint tick of a clock, or even your own heartbeat. But more than that, your own thoughts become super clear, almost shouting in your head. Worries you pushed away during the day, or exciting new ideas, can feel huge and important in the quiet. The silence makes them stand out, sharp and real. So, silence isn't always empty. Sometimes, it's the loudest place you can be. It's where our own feelings and ideas truly come alive. It's where the world inside us gets a chance to speak, without anyone interrupting. When we experience real quiet, we find it's not blank, but actually full of who we are, deep down. It reminds us that even when nothing seems to be happening, important stuff is still unfolding inside us. Growing up, still feeling young, voiceover calm, reflective. Have you ever looked in the mirror and seen someone older, but inside, you still feel just like a little kid? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like your mind and your body are on different clicks. This is one of life's quiet contradictions. Growing older on the outside, yet holding on to a younger self within. For centuries, thinkers and poets have wondered about this feeling. Ancient Greek philosophers talked about the soul being separate from the body. They believed our inner self, our true spirit, might not age the same way our skin and bones do. This feeling links us across time, connecting us to everyone who has grown older but still felt a spark of youth inside. So, it's not just you, This is a very human experience. Think about a dog you know. Maybe it's a big grown-up golden retriever, but sometimes, when it sees a squirrel, it acts just like a playful puppy, chasing and barking with wild energy. Its body is mature, but that puppy spirit never truly left. It's the same for us. We learn and grow, our bodies change, but that part of us that loves to laugh, that feels wonder, or that remembers how it felt to be carefree, that part often stays. Here's the thing, maybe this isn't a problem, maybe it's a gift. It means we carry our past selves with us, like a collection of memories and feelings. We get to be wise and experienced, but still keep that fresh curiosity and joy that defines youth. It's like having all your favorite books inside you, ready to be opened again any time. This feeling reminds us that true age is more than just years. It's about how we feel, how we see the world, and how much of that young heart we let shine through. It's a beautiful balance, being both old and new, all at once. The power of being small. Have you ever looked up at the vast night sky, or across a wide ocean, and felt incredibly tiny, like a single speck in something enormous? It's easy to feel like being small means being unimportant, maybe even powerless. But here's the thing, sometimes, being small is actually a hidden superpower. Think about it. The universe, in all its massive glory, started from something incredibly small, a point that held everything within it. Or consider the air we breathe. It's made of tiny molecules, too small to see, yet they make up everything around us and keep us alive. Long ago, thinkers understood this. They saw that the biggest things were built from the smallest parts. A huge mountain is made of tiny grains of rock. A vast forest grows from individual seeds. The smallest element is the building block for the greatest structures. This idea matters to us. Imagine a single tiny pebble dropped into a calm pond. It seems like nothing, right? But that small pebble creates ripples. Those ripples spread out, wider and wider, touching every edge of the pond. The pebble itself isn't big, but its impact stretches far beyond its size. In the same way, a tiny act of kindness, a quiet word, or even one focused thought can create ripples in the world. You might not see the whole ripple, but it's there, spreading. So, when you feel small, remember the pebble, the seed, the molecule. Remember that even the smallest parts hold immense potential. Your quiet presence, your tiny choices, your softest words, they all have the power to create echoes, to start something beautiful, to make a difference that reaches far beyond what you can see. There's a quiet strength in simply existing, in letting your ripples unfold. Why friends fight but still care. Have you ever wondered why, even after a big argument with a friend, you still want to hang out with them? It feels strange, right? One minute you're upset, maybe even shouting, and the next you feel drawn back. This isn't a flaw in friendship. It's a core part of how deep connections work. Here's the thing. Friendship isn't about always agreeing. It's about two people, with their own separate thoughts, choosing to share their lives. When you care deeply, their choices and words affect you strongly. That strong feeling can sometimes lead to conflict. It's because you value what they think, and the relationship itself. Think about it. For thousands of years, people have seen friendship as vital. Even ancient Greek thinkers, like Aristotle, explored different kinds of friends. He understood that true friends, who really know and care, will sometimes clash. Their disagreements aren't just surface level. They come from honesty and trust. You often only argue with people you feel safe enough to be truly yourself with, right? Imagine two friends deciding what to do on a Saturday. One wants the park, the other a movie. They might get frustrated, maybe even say something sharp. But if their friendship is real, that frustration isn't about disliking each other. It's about both wanting their own way, while also wanting to spend time together. After the dust settles, they often compromise, or just hug it out. The disagreement becomes a small wave in a much bigger ocean of caring. So, when friends argue, it often means their bond is strong enough to handle differences. It's proof that their caring goes beyond just agreeing. It shows that even when opinions clash, the foundation of love and respect holds firm. And that, in a world full of changes, is a beautiful thing. The fear that makes you brave. Have you ever felt that icy rush, that quick tightening in your chest, right before you did something important, something you weren't sure you could do? Isn't it strange how the very feeling that makes us want to freeze or run away can also push us forward into our bravest moments? Here's the thing. Fear isn't always about being weak. Sometimes, it's a powerful, hidden force that lights up our courage. It's like a whisper that says, "This matters." Think about it like two sides of the same coin. You can't truly feel brave unless there's something to be afraid of. True bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to act even when fear is knocking on your door. Long ago, thinkers and storytellers understood this. They knew that heroes in ancient myths weren't fearless. They felt the same jitters and doubts as anyone else. But they chose to face the dragon, cross the deep river, or speak truth to power. Not because they weren't scared, but because something else was more important. It was about their purpose being bigger than their fear. The old stories tell us that standing tall, even when your knees are shaking, is what really counts. Imagine you're trying out for a school play. You really want the part. The day of auditions arrives, and your stomach churns. Your hands might even get a little sweaty. That's fear. It's telling you this moment is a big deal. But then, you walk onto the stage, take a deep breath, and deliver your lines. That feeling of accomplishment, of stepping past the doubt, that's bravery. The fear was part of the process. It was the pressure that shaped your courage. It wasn't a wall, but a challenge, inviting you to rise. So, when that knot of fear appears, maybe don't see it as a stop sign. See it as a signal, a signpost pointing towards growth. It's telling you that you're at the edge of something new, something that asks you to be more than you thought you were. It's not about getting rid of fear entirely, but understanding its quiet, powerful role. It helps us find the strength we didn't know we had, guiding us towards discovering our own amazing courage. And that's why it matters. The fear that whispers, "What if you fail?" can also be the very thing that helps you find the strength to say, "But what if I fly?" Feeling alone in a crowd. Have you ever been in a really big group of people, maybe at a school assembly, a concert, or just a busy hallway between classes? You're surrounded by noise, by laughter, by so many different voices, but even with all that life around you, has there ever been a moment when you felt completely alone? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like you're watching a movie and everyone else is in it, but you're just outside the screen, separate. Here's one of those contradictions at the heart of being human. We crave connection, we live in communities, yet sometimes our inner world feels like a quiet, private island, even when the outer world is a buzzing city. People have wondered about this for centuries. Thinkers throughout history have explored this. They've talked about feeling unique, even in a crowd. It's not a new feeling, or one that means something is wrong with you. Instead, it's a shared human experience, a quiet reminder that our deepest thoughts are ours alone. Here's an example. Think about scrolling through social media. You see lots of friends, lots of posts. It looks like everyone is connecting and sharing. But sometimes, looking at all those filtered, happy moments, you might feel a pang of isolation, like you're looking into a party you weren't invited to. Even if you are friends with everyone online, your feelings are yours alone, even in a public place. So, here's the thing. Feeling alone in a crowd isn't a flaw. It's a quiet truth about our individuality. It shows that while we share a lot with others, there's a deep part of ourselves only we know. And that's okay. It's part of what makes us unique, a secret garden within us, always there. Even when the world is loud, it's a reminder of our quiet strength, an inner space no one else can touch. The start of an end. The end of a start. Have you ever really noticed how some endings don't feel like a sharp stop, but more like a gentle slide into something new? It's like a whisper of what's next, even while what's now is still fading. We often talk about things ending and new things starting, as if there's a clear line. But sometimes, that line isn't a line at all. It's a blurry space where one thing gives way to another. And the goodbye and the hello are happening at the very same moment. This idea that beginnings and endings are always tangled up isn't new. People have thought about it for a very long time. Back in ancient Greece, a thinker named Heraclitus said you can't step into the same river twice. What he meant was, the river is always flowing. The water from a second ago is already gone, and new water has taken its place. So, the river looks the same, but it's constantly changing. Every second the old river ends, and the new river begins. Here's how it works in your own life. Imagine finishing 8th grade. It's the end of middle school. You're saying goodbye to teachers and classmates. That's a clear ending. But at the same time, you're also beginning to imagine high school. You think about new classes, new friends. The excitement isn't waiting until summer is over. It's already starting inside you. even as you leave middle school. The end of one chapter is the very beginning of the next. The final bell doesn't just signal an end, it echoes the promise of a fresh start. So, this strange dance between what's finishing and what's emerging isn't something to fear. It's just how life moves. It reminds us that even when something familiar fades away, there's always a quiet newness, waiting, a tiny sprout of a beginning ready to grow. It teaches us to find the beauty in this constant flow, to see how goodbyes often carry the seeds of new hellos. Why we dream when we sleep. Have you ever woken up from a dream so strange, so vivid, that you wondered, where did that even come from? Why does our mind, even when our bodies are completely still and our eyes are sealed shut, keep telling us these wild, often beautiful, sometimes puzzling stories? It's a question that has quietly hummed through human history, a mystery whispered across time. For centuries, people looked to dreams for answers. Ancient cultures, gazing at the stars or listening to the wind, often believed dreams were direct messages from gods or clues about the future. They saw them as a sacred language, full of hidden meanings. Later, thinkers like the famous psychologist Sigmund Freud suggested that dreams were like secret windows into our deepest selves, a place where our hidden wishes, fears, and memories played out in symbolic ways. He thought dreams helped us process thoughts and feelings we might not even realize we have during our waking hours. But here's the thing. Modern science offers another perspective, painting dreams as our brain's very clever way of tidying up. Imagine your mind as a bustling, vibrant city. All day long, information rushes in. Sights, sounds, feelings, conversations, things you learn. It's a lot to take in. When you sleep, your brain doesn't just switch off. Instead, it gets busy, like a quiet night crew. It sorts through all that daily chaos. It decides what memories to keep, what skills to strengthen, and what emotional experiences need a little extra processing. It's a bit like defragmenting a computer, or, simpler still, like cleaning out your school locker after a busy week. You organize, throw away junk, and keep what's important. Sometimes, dreaming is also how our hearts work through tough emotions or new ideas. It's like our inner artist or a silent problem solver gets to work, weaving together fragments of our day into new patterns. So, when you drift off tonight, remember that your brain is not just resting, it's on a profound journey, making sense of your world, one quiet, unfolding story at a time. Dreams are a gentle echo of the vast, intricate life happening inside you, connecting your conscious self to the deeper currents of your being. Learning when you don't know. Have you ever felt lost, not really knowing where to begin? Maybe it's a tough problem, or learning something new like a sport. That feeling of not knowing can feel a bit strange. But here's the thing, it's actually a starting point for true learning. A long time ago, a wise Greek named Socrates talked about this. He didn't think wisdom meant knowing everything. Instead, he said it was realizing how much you don't know. He'd ask questions, showing people the big world of ideas they still had to explore. This idea, that admitting you don't know something is the first step to learning, has been important for ages. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. You can't see what's there until you realize it's dark. It happens all the time. Imagine trying to figure out a magic trick. At first, you have no clue, right? You watch, amazed. That not knowing sparks your curiosity. You try different things, making mistakes, and learning from each one. Scientists do this too. They often start with a huge question they don't have an answer to, like how did life start? They lean into the unknown, pushing them to explore and discover. So when we face a moment where we don't have the answers, it's not a failure, it's a quiet invitation. It's a chance for our minds to open, to be curious. It's the space where new understanding can grow. It reminds us that life is full of mysteries, and not knowing can be the most beautiful way to begin. The truth that hurts, the lie that helps. Have you ever thought about how strange it is that sometimes a comforting story, even if it's not completely true, can feel better than a harsh fact? We often say we want the truth, no matter what. But what if the truth hurts so much that a gentle untruth actually helps us cope? This is one of life's quiet contradictions. For a long time, thinkers have wondered about this. Imagine ancient times. People lived with a lot of fear about nature, about what happens after we die. Sometimes, leaders or wise people would share myths or stories that weren't literally true, but they gave people comfort, hope, or a reason to be brave. These weren't meant to trick people in a bad way. Instead, they were like a soft blanket wrapped around a hard truth, making it easier to bear. It was about creating a sense of order or peace when life felt chaotic. Here's an example that happens even today. Sometimes, a doctor might give a patient a sugar pill. It has no real medicine in it, but if the patient believes it's a powerful drug, their body can actually start to feel better. This is called the placebo effect. The truth is, the pill isn't medicine, but the lie, the belief that it is medicine, helps the person feel better, sometimes even helps them heal. The mind is powerful like that. So, here's the thing. This isn't about saying lies are good, but it makes us wonder about our human need for comfort. It shows how our minds can use belief itself as a kind of healing. Maybe some truths are just too sharp, too cold, and for a moment, a softer story allows us to breathe, to mend, before we face the world again. It's a quiet puzzle about how we survive, not just with facts, but with feelings. Being strong but feeling weak. Have you ever felt like you had to be strong for someone, or in a tough moment, but inside you felt like you might fall apart? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like you're wearing a costume of courage while your true self is just tired. Here's the thing. That feeling is not only normal, it's deeply human. For centuries, thinkers have wrestled with this. Way back, ancient Greek philosophers talked about how we appear to the world versus how we truly feel. They understood that courage wasn't about not being afraid. It was about acting despite the fear. Even someone like Marcus Aurelius, a powerful Roman emperor, wrote in his personal journal about his own struggles, his own worries. He was outwardly strong, leading an empire, but privately, he faced his own doubts and weariness, just like us. It shows that even the most important people have these same mixed feelings. Think about a time you had to stand up for a friend, or maybe even give a presentation in front of your class. On the outside, you might have stood tall, spoken clearly, and seemed totally confident, but maybe, just maybe, your knees were shaking a little, or your heart was pounding like a drum against your ribs. That's it, exactly. You were strong enough to do it, to face the challenge, but you also felt that flicker of weakness or fear inside. This contradiction reminds us that true strength isn't about never feeling weak. Instead, it's about pushing forward even when those shaky, unsure feelings are there. It tells us that being brave often means feeling scared but choosing to act anyway. And that makes us more real, more understanding of ourselves and each other. The comfort of being uncomfortableized. It's strange how sometimes the very things we try to avoid, the moments that make us squirm or feel a little lost, are exactly what we need. This idea that getting a little uncomfortable can actually be a good thing, a kind of hidden comfort, might seem like a puzzle. But here's the thing. True growth rarely happens when everything is easy and perfectly smooth. Thinkers for thousands of years have actually talked about this, not in fancy terms, but simply. They noticed that true strength, deep understanding, often grows in the places that feel awkward or difficult. It's like how a muscle only gets stronger when you challenge it, not when you let it rest forever, or how a tree pushes its roots deep through hard soil to stand firm against the wind. The challenge shapes it. Consider how your own mind works. When you learn something new, like a tricky concept in science or a new skill on the guitar, your brain actually builds new connections. It's not always easy. You might get frustrated or feel like you don't get it right away. That feeling of not knowing, that little struggle, is your brain working hard. It's growing. That discomfort is a sign of something amazing happening inside you. The feeling of not quite fitting or not understanding is not a problem to be solved immediately, but a space for new ideas to bloom. So, the next time you feel that little nudge of unease, maybe it's a new class, or trying out for a team, or speaking up when you're shy, remember, it's not a sign to turn back. It might just be the quiet whisper of growth. It's the hidden comfort in stretching your limits, a deep kind of peace that comes from knowing you're becoming more of who you are meant to be. This quiet strength, born from embracing what's hard, is a beautiful thing. Why goodbyes are also hero shave. You ever really thought about goodbyes? We usually feel a little sad when we say goodbye, like something is just ending. But what if every ending was also a quiet kind of beginning? Here's the thing. When something ends, it doesn't just vanish. It creates an empty space. Think of finishing a good book. You close it, and there's that feeling it's done. But now, your hands are free. You can pick up a new story, a different adventure. That ending made room for the next read. People have thought about this for a long time. They noticed how everything in nature moves in cycles. Leaves fall from trees in autumn, a goodbye to they're green, but their decay feeds the soil for new growth in spring. It's a gentle, constant rhythm. Winter isn't just the end of warmth, it's the quiet setup for spring's fresh breath. So, let's say you're moving from middle school to high school. You say goodbye to old hallways, familiar teachers, and friends going different ways. That can feel tough. It's like a big chapter is closing, but that goodbye is also a huge hello. It's a hello to new classes, new clubs, maybe even new friends. It's a hello to more independence, different challenges, and finding out more about who you are. The sadness of the ending helps the new beginning feel even brighter, and that's why it matters. Every farewell carries a quiet hum of something new coming. It's not about forgetting what was. It's about understanding that life is always flowing, always making space for what's next. Goodbyes are quiet invitations for hellos to appear. They show us change isn't just loss. It's the beautiful, endless dance of growth. The freedom in having rules. Have you ever felt like rules just box you in? Like they stop you from doing what you really want? It's easy to feel that way. But here's a curious thought. Sometimes, rules are what actually give us freedom. It sounds like a puzzle, doesn't it? Think about it like this. If you want to play a game, say, basketball, you need rules. How many steps can you take? How do you score? If there were no rules, it wouldn't be a game at all. Just people running around, maybe pushing. There would be no way to play together. No challenge, no fun. The rules give the game its shape, its meaning. They free you to play. Long ago, wise people, like some ancient Greek thinkers, talked about this. They understood that for a city to work, for people to live together without constant fighting, they needed laws. These laws weren't just about punishment. They created a safe space where everyone knew what to expect. This allowed people to build homes, start businesses, and create art without fear. It set them free to pursue their lives because there was order. Imagine learning to draw. At first you learn rules for perspective, shading, lines. It might feel stiff, but these rules teach your hand, they train your eye. And then, once you understand them, you can break them in interesting ways, or use them to create amazing, lifelike pictures. The rules didn't trap your art. They gave you the skill to make it soar. They freed your ability to create. So maybe freedom isn't just about having no fences at all. Perhaps true freedom often comes from the boundaries we agree to, the structures we build. These structures, these rules, can clear the path, letting us move forward with purpose and peace, allowing our best selves to truly emerge. It's a quiet kind of freedom, found in the very things we sometimes resist. Wanting more, having enough. Ever notice how something you wished for, finally got, doesn't always feel like enough? It's a strange feeling, that quiet whisper inside, always asking for more, even when we have plenty. This isn't just about things you buy, it's about experiences, how we feel. We reach a goal, feel joy, but then our minds shift. A new desire pulls us forward. This pull is a deep contradiction at the heart of being human. Long ago, wise thinkers wondered. They saw people chase wealth or pleasure, only to find it didn't bring lasting happiness. New desires appeared. These thinkers taught true peace comes from contentment. They believed joy is in appreciating what's already there, not endless adding. Think about a new video game you really wanted. For days, it's amazing. You play for hours, but after a while, the newness fades. You might think about the next big release. The excitement for this game is replaced by new longing. Our minds just look for the next spark. So, maybe the real trick isn't about getting more, hoping to feel full. Perhaps it's about pausing, noticing the good in what is already here, right now, finding value in simply having enough. That quiet gratitude can be its own deep wealth. Real peace isn't found in chasing what's next, but in settling softly into what's already yours. The beauty of things breaking. Have you ever noticed how we often see things breaking as only a bad thing? A broken plate, a broken promise. We usually feel a pang of sadness or frustration. But what if breaking isn't always the end? What if, sometimes, it's actually the beginning of something new, something beautiful? Think about it. Many old stories and thinkers from long ago would tell you that life is always changing. For something new to truly come alive, something old often has to give way. It's not about things just vanishing, but transforming. Here's what I mean. Imagine a tiny seed. It looks solid and whole, right? But for that seed to grow into a tall, strong plant, its outer shell has to break open, splitting and cracking. This lets the tiny sprout push through. Without that breaking, it couldn't grow roots, a stem, or reach for the sun. The seed breaks to become something bigger and more alive. Or think about a time you tried something really hard, like a new skill or a tricky problem. You might have felt your old ways breaking down or not working. But then, you pushed through, learned something new, or saw things from a fresh angle. That moment of breaking past your limit, that struggle, led to a new strength or understanding. So, here's the thing. Sometimes, the cracking apart of what we know is just life making room. It's the world showing us that endings can be powerful beginnings. There's a quiet beauty in this breaking. It teaches us that even in pieces, there's a promise of something wonderfully whole again, or something new. Why we forget what we know. Have you ever felt like you knew something deep down, something truly important, but then it just slipped away? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? To know, and then not to know. Our brains are amazing, but they're not like perfect video recorders. They're more like busy editors. They decide what to keep, what to highlight, and what to quietly let go of. Long, long ago, thinkers like the Greek philosopher Plato wondered about this. He imagined we were born knowing everything, and learning was just remembering what we'd forgotten from before we were born. But here's the thing. Modern science gives us a different idea. Our brains are always busy, trying to make sense of the world around us. And sometimes, that means clearing out old paths to make room for new ones. It's like weeding a garden. You pull out what's no longer needed, so the good stuff can grow stronger. Think about a math lesson you learned last year. Maybe you understood it perfectly back then. You could solve every problem, but now, without practice, some of the steps might feel fuzzy. The main idea might still be there, but the exact ways to do it have faded. Or, think about learning a new song on an instrument. At first, every note is a struggle. Then you master it, but if you don't play it for a while, your fingers might stumble. You haven't truly unlearned it, but the easy recall isn't there anymore. Your brain has decided other things are more important to remember right now. So, maybe forgetting isn't a failure at all. Maybe it's a quiet way our minds make space for new wonders, for deeper understanding that isn't just about facts, but about feeling and connection. What truly stays with us, often, isn't just the details we knew, but how it changed us, or the important questions it left behind. It's a part of growing, a gentle reminder that life is a journey of constant discovery, even of ourselves. The joy of sad songs. Have you ever wondered why we sometimes choose to listen to sad songs? It seems like a strange thing to do, right? You're feeling a bit down, or maybe just calm, and then you put on a song that talks about heartbreak or loss. But instead of making you feel worse, it often makes you feel better, or at least understood. This is one of those beautiful contradictions at the heart of being human. How can something sad bring a kind of peace, even a quiet joy? Here's the thing. For a long time, people have thought about this. Ancient Greek thinkers, for example, had a word for it, catharsis. It means a kind of cleansing or release. When you feel strong emotions, even sad ones, by listening to a story or music, it helps you let them out in a safe way. It's about realizing you're not alone. Someone else has felt this, and shared it in words and music. Think about watching a movie where a character loses something important, and you feel that pang of sadness with them. It might make your eyes well up. But after the movie, you usually don't feel like the experience ruined your day. Instead, you might feel a little lighter, like you've processed something. You've let your heart feel deeply, and that can be a powerful relief. Sad songs work the same way, holding space for our quiet pains and unspoken feelings. So, when we listen to a sad song, we're not trying to become sad. We're connecting to a shared human experience. We're allowing ourselves to feel, and in that feeling, there's a kind of release, a quiet comfort. It reminds us that sorrow is a part of life, just like joy. Both can teach us about ourselves and the world. It's a quiet reminder that even in sadness, we find connection and understanding. Building up, tearing down. Have you ever watched something beautiful get destroyed, then something new emerge? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like when a big storm knocks down old trees, but then new saplings push through the soil. This quiet dance between building up and tearing down is everywhere. It's a key puzzle in how existence works. Long ago, thinkers saw this pattern in nature. They wondered deeply about it. They saw leaves fall in autumn. New ones grew in spring. They made up stories, like the phoenix. This mythical bird burns to ashes, then it rises again. For them, breaking down wasn't just an end. It was a necessary start for something new. It showed how life needs change to keep going. Here's the thing. This isn't just about nature or myths. It's happening inside us, all the time. Think about a caterpillar. It eats leaves, growing bigger, but to become a butterfly, it completely breaks down. Inside its chrysalis, its body turns into a thick liquid. That's a huge tearing down. But from that liquid, new parts form, wings grow. A beautiful butterfly is built. The caterpillar had to let go of its old self to become new, and that's why it matters. We build ideas in our minds. Sometimes we must let them go if they don't help us. We make habits. Sometimes we need to break them for healthier ones. It can feel scary to let go of the old, but often, that letting go, that tearing down, makes room for growth, for new beauty, for who we truly are meant to become. It's a quiet promise that endings are also beginnings. The quiet voice that shouts loud. Have you ever noticed how the quietest things can have the biggest impact? It's not always about loud speeches. Sometimes, real power comes from calm, a gentle whisper that echoes more than any shout. We often praise noise and flash, but there's a deep truth in the idea of a quiet voice. This isn't about being literally silent. It's about strength that doesn't need to be aggressive. It's about an inner knowing, a simple truth, or a subtle action that holds immense weight. Long ago, the Greek philosopher Socrates believed true wisdom wasn't found in talking a lot. He taught it came from quiet questioning, from looking inside yourself. He listened to his inner voice, a kind of conscience. His gentle questions challenged powerful ideas and still shape how we think. His quiet questions shouted truth. Here's an example. Imagine you're worried. You might have a million loud thoughts, but then a quiet thought comes in. Just take one deep breath. Or maybe, I can ask my friend for help. That calm voice in your head, the one that doesn't demand attention, often guides you to the best solution. Its message is clear and strong, cutting through all the noise. Or think about a tiny seed. It rests quietly in the soil. It doesn't shout. But inside that quiet seed is the potential for a mighty tree. Its silent growth becomes a huge statement about life and perseverance. So, here's the thing. Maybe the most powerful voices aren't always the loudest. The deepest truths, key insights, or strongest solutions often come from listening closely to what is soft, subtle, and overlooked. It's about finding strength in calm and understanding that real change can begin with quiet. Knowing within ourselves, pay attention to those quiet moments. They often hold the loudest truths. Being different, wanting to fit in. Have you ever felt like you stand out, like a single, unusual star in a vast sky? But at the same time, have you also felt this quiet pull, this deep wish to just fit in? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? This push and pull lives inside us. On one hand, we value what makes us unique, our thoughts, our dreams, how we see the world. On the other, there's this old human longing to belong, to be part of a group, to feel connected and safe. Think about it. For thousands of years, humans survived by sticking together. Our ancestors lived in tribes. Being alone, being truly different, often meant danger. So, this desire to blend, to be accepted, is actually a very old, deep part of us. It's written into our nature. It's not about being weak, it's about being human, about the need for connection that has kept our species going. It's a bit like a single note in a grand symphony. Each note has its own sound, its own unique quality. If it plays completely off-key, it stands out, but often not in a good way. But if it tries too hard to be exactly like every other note, it loses its own voice. The most beautiful music happens when each unique note finds its place within the harmony. It adds its special color while still contributing to the whole. It's distinct, yet part of something much bigger. So, here's the thing. This feeling, this contradiction, it's not a flaw. It's part of the human experience. It's the quiet dance between being who you truly are and finding your spot in the world. Maybe the goal isn't to pick one side. Instead, it's to understand that both feelings can exist together, to be your unique self, a bright, individual spark, and to know you are also part of a vast, shining constellation of people. That tension, that delicate balance, is what makes us interesting, what makes us real. It's a reminder that belonging doesn't mean disappearing. It means bringing your unique light to the shared space. The lightness of heavy thoughts. Have you ever wondered why thinking about truly huge, even difficult, ideas sometimes makes you feel lighter? It seems strange, right? Like carrying a big rock, but somehow feeling more free. Our minds have a special way of dealing with the biggest thoughts, the ones about existence, time, or what comes next. When we face a contradiction, a life puzzle that doesn't quite fit, it can feel like a heavy knot. But just the act of trying to understand it, turning it over, can loosen that knot. Long ago, thinkers like the Stoics in ancient Greece practiced this. They didn't ignore hard parts of life, like loss or change. Instead, they spent time thinking deeply about them. They believed that by looking tough truths in the eye, they could make peace with them. It wasn't about finding all the answers, but about making heavy feelings less crushing, just by understanding. Think about a time you were really worried, maybe a big test, or a difficult conversation. The worry felt heavy, right? It sat in your stomach, but then, you started to think through it. You considered what you could do, or what might happen. Even if the problem didn't go away, just thinking about it, breaking it down, made it feel a little less overwhelming. It's like a cloud. Clouds are made of millions of tiny water droplets, which are heavy, but because they spread out and float, they appear light, drifting across the sky. Our heavy thoughts can be like that too. So, maybe deep thinking isn't a burden. Maybe it's a way to gently lift ourselves. It lets us explore the biggest questions, the strange contradictions, and find a quiet strength there. It's realizing that even the most complex ideas can bring a strange calm, a lightness that helps us simply be. Why answers bring more questions? Have you ever noticed something strange about learning? You finally get an answer to a big question. You feel smart, like you figured it out. But then, almost right away, that answer opens up 3 new questions you didn't even know existed. It's a bit like when you clear a path through a dense forest. You can see ahead, but then you notice new, smaller paths branching off, each inviting you to explore. Think about the old Greek thinkers. Thousands of years ago, they looked at the stars and wondered, what are those lights? How do they move? They came up with ideas, like planets being carried on crystal spheres. That was an answer for their time. But that answer then led to more questions. What holds the spheres? What's beyond them? Each solution they found, each bit of knowledge, showed them how much more there was to learn. It wasn't a dead end. It was a doorway. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine you're trying to understand why your favorite song makes you feel a certain way. Maybe you figure out it's because of the melody. So, you have an answer. But then, you start to wonder, why does that specific melody sound so good? What instruments are used? How does the beat contribute? And understanding one part of the song makes you curious about all the other parts, and even about music itself. One answer blossoms into a garden of new inquiries. This isn't a problem, it's part of the wonder of being human. Our minds are built to seek and question. The more we learn, the more we realize the vastness of what we don't know. It's a beautiful, endless journey. Every answered question is a stepping stone to deeper, more interesting mysteries, and that constant search, that's what keeps life interesting. The peace in a messy room. Have you ever looked at your room, truly looked and felt a strange calm, even if it's a bit messy, or seen someone else's space that seems chaotic, but they know exactly where everything is? Here's the thing, we often think peace comes from perfect order, everything neat and in its place. But what if peace can also be found in what looks like a mess to others? It's not about being disorganized. It's about a different kind of order, one that makes sense just to you. It's your own unique system. People have long found comfort in things not perfectly arranged. Think about nature. A forest isn't rows of trees. It's a beautiful tangle of life. Old thinkers saw how the universe, with stars flying, still had a deep rhythm. It wasn't a neat box. It was vast, busy, yet it worked. Imagine your desk before a big project is due. Papers are everywhere, pens scattered. To others it looks like chaos, but for you, each item might be a thought, a step in your process. You know where everything is. That mess isn't disarray. It's your thinking's fingerprint. You might feel most focused and at peace there, in your own kind of order. So, the peace in a messy room isn't about being untidy. It's about seeing beyond. what looks unorganized. It's about knowing our truest comfort comes from accepting things as they are, with all their quirks. It reminds us existence isn't always neat and tidy, but in its beautiful, messy way, it holds its own deep peace. Being busy, longing for nothing. Have you ever had a week totally packed? School, sports, maybe a part-time job or clubs. Every hour is filled. But then, a quiet thought whispers, I wish I had nothing to do. It's strange, right? We spend so much energy being busy, yet sometimes our truest desire is for empty time, for quiet stillness. This is a real contradiction, deep in how we live. People have thought about this for centuries. Ancient thinkers, long before our busy world, talked about leisure, not like binge-watching TV. They meant a deep rest, a time when your mind is free to just be, to think or not think. They saw it as vital, a way to truly connect with yourself. They believed constant doing, without pausing, could make us lose what truly matters. Here's an example. Think about your phone. It's always buzzing, right? Notifications, messages, videos. You scroll, reply, watch. It feels like you have to keep up. But then, maybe your battery dies, or you're somewhere with no signal. For a moment, there's nothing. No alerts, no demands. For some, that quiet pause, that nothing, feels like a deep breath. It's a tiny look at the peace our busy lives sometimes forget. This contradiction reminds us our worth isn't just in what we do. It's not about how much we check off a list. Sometimes, the most important thing is simply to exist. It shows that, amidst all the noise, all the doing, there's a powerful longing inside us, a longing for a different kind of richness. The richness of simply being, calmly, without purpose, just for a moment. It's a quiet truth in our noisy world. The pain of growing, the ease of staying. Have you ever noticed how some things just feel so much easier when they stay the same? Maybe it's your old routine, your favorite worn-out hoodie, or the path you walk every day. There's a quiet comfort in what we already know, a gentle pull to stay right where we are, and that's natural. Our minds like things to be predictable. But here's the thing about growing. It rarely feels easy. It's often messy, sometimes painful, and almost always uncomfortable. Think about it like a tree. A tree doesn't just decide to grow taller and stronger without effort. It has to push roots deeper, stretch branches higher, and sometimes even break through tough ground or strong winds. That pushing, that stretching, that breaking through, that's the pain of growing. For hundreds of years, thinkers and writers have talked about this idea. They noticed that humans often resist change, even when that change would make them better. It's like a tiny, quiet argument happening inside us. The part that wants to stay safe, and the part that yearns to explore, to become more. This isn't just about big life choices. It's in the small things to imagine learning to ride a bike for the first time. It's so much easier to just walk, right? Walking is familiar. But if you wanted to feel the wind, to go faster, to reach places walking couldn't, you had to face the wobbles, the fear of falling, maybe even a scraped knee or two. That falling, that trying again, that's the pain part. Staying on foot was the ease of staying, but the joy of finally riding, that was the growth. And that's why it matters. Life asks us to grow all the time, whether we want to or not. It's a strange contradiction. This tug of war, the easy path often leads to staying still, while the path of growth, though it might sting a bit, opens up new worlds. It's okay to feel that struggle. It just means you're learning, changing, becoming who you were meant to be. How saying no can be kind. Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach when someone asked for something and you desperately wanted to say no, but couldn't? It feels like saying no is the opposite of kind, right? Like you're letting someone down, or being selfish. But sometimes, a quiet no can be the most compassionate thing you offer. Not just to yourself, but to others too. Don't think about it this way. Every yes you give to something you don't truly have the time or energy for is a no to something else. It's a no to your own rest, your own studies, your own quiet space to just be. The ancient Greek philosophers, like the Stoics, talked about knowing what you can control. They suggested we focus our energy on what is truly within our power. Saying no is about guarding that energy, honoring your limits. It's respecting your own vessel, so you don't pour from an empty cup. Imagine a friend asks you to help with a huge project. but you're already swamped with homework and feel completely burned out. If you force yourself to say yes, you might end up doing a poor job, feeling resentful, or even getting sick. That's not helpful to anyone. But if you kindly explain that you can't help right now because you're stretched too thin, and maybe offer to help in a smaller way later, or suggest someone else who could, that's real kindness. You're being honest, protecting your own well-being, and not making a promise you can't keep. So, no isn't always a wall. Sometimes, it's a careful boundary, like the edge of a garden protecting the delicate flowers within. It's a quiet declaration of self-respect, a gentle act of preserving your inner peace. And from that place of peace, true kindness, the kind that isn't forced or grudging, can truly blossom. The comfort of change, the fear of it. Have you ever noticed how we want things to stay exactly the same, but then also wish for something new? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? We find comfort in the familiar. Routines, familiar faces, it feels safe. But there's also a part of us that craves change. We want to grow, to learn, to see new places. Sometimes, change just happens, whether we want it to or not. That can be scary. Losing what we know, stepping into the unknown. Yet, even in that fear, comfort can emerge, a sense of fresh starts, of possibility. Think about what people have thought for thousands of years. An old Greek thinker Heraclitus once said, "You can't step into the same river twice." He meant everything is always flowing, always changing. The river looks the same, but the water is new. Our lives are like that river. Every moment is new, even if we feel like we're standing still. This idea that life is constant motion can be both comforting and unsettling. We want things to last, but nothing truly does. Consider moving from elementary school to middle school. For many, it was a big change. Maybe you were nervous about new teachers, bigger buildings, or making new friends. That's the fear of change. You missed the old routine, the familiar faces. But as you settled in, you found new things to like. You discovered new interests, made different friends, and felt more grown up. That's the comfort that comes from change, the good that can bloom from something new. So, here's the thing. This push and pull, wanting things to stay the same while also embracing what's new, isn't a flaw. It's just how we are. It's part of the beautiful truth of being human. Being okay with both the steady quiet of routine and the exciting rumble of something new is a big part of living a full life. It means understanding that endings can be beginnings, and that even in letting go, we often find something unexpected and wonderful waiting. Why we build walls and try to break them? Have you ever thought about wanting to opposite things at once? Like feeling safe in your own space, but also wanting to explore the wide world outside. This deep feeling is about building walls, and then trying to break them down. We build physical walls, like fences or ancient city walls. These are for safety. They keep danger out, mark what's ours, and offer order. We also build them in other ways, routines, habits, even personal rules. These become our comfort zones, giving us quiet safety. But here's the thing. While we build these walls, another part of us gets curious. We wonder what's beyond. We feel restless. That's when we push boundaries. We seek new adventures, new ideas. It's like a seed pushing through soil, needing earth to grow, but breaking through to reach the sun. Think about a new student in your class. They might start quiet, building a wall of shyness. That's their comfort zone. But then, someone asks them to join a game, or they share a laugh. They start breaking their wall, reaching out to connect. It feels risky, but also exciting. Long ago, cities built huge walls for safety, but traders always found paths through or around them. They needed to learn new things, share goods, and see other ways of life. That urge to connect and discover has always been stronger than any wall. So, this push and pull, wanting safety and freedom, isn't strange. It's just part of being human. We build walls for security, for a place to return. We break or stretch them to grow, learn, and truly live. It's about balancing safety and exploration. The beauty of things ending. Have you ever felt a little sad when something beautiful comes to an end? Like a perfect summer day, or a great movie. It's natural to feel that way. We often see endings as losses, like something is gone forever. But what if we looked at endings differently? What if there was a quiet beauty hidden right there, in things finishing? An ending isn't just a stopping point. It's also a gentle release, making space for what comes next. Think about old leaves falling from a tree in autumn. They don't just vanish. They nourish the ground for new life in spring. This idea of change and cycles has been pondered for thousands of years. Ancient philosophers, watching sunrises, sunsets, seasons turning, understood nothing in nature stays the same. These cycles, these endings and beginnings, are life's natural rhythm. Take a sunset, for example. It's one of the most stunning sights we can witness. Those incredible colors painting the sky, but its beauty is tied to its fleeting nature, right? We know it won't last. If a sunset lasted forever, would we cherish those last minutes as much? That moment of its ending makes us truly see its magic. We hold the memory. So maybe the beauty of things ending is about cherishing the moment while it's here, and then letting go with grace. It teaches us to appreciate the present, knowing it's special because it won't last. And when something ends, it lives on in our memories, in the lessons we learned, and in new paths that open up. It's a quiet reminder that change isn't always bad. Sometimes it's the most beautiful part of all. Speaking out, wanting to hide. Have you ever felt like you had something really important to say, but at the very same moment, a quiet wish that no one would ever notice you at all? It's a strange and powerful feeling, isn't it? This is a deep contradiction many of us know well. The strong desire to speak our truth, to share what's truly inside, mixed with an equally strong, deep urge to stay hidden, to keep our thoughts and feelings completely to ourselves. Think about it like this. When you have a truly good idea, or when you feel strongly about something that matters, there's a part of you that wants to shout it from the rooftops. You want your voice to be heard. But then, almost instantly, another part feels a quiet shiver of fear. What if people don't agree? What if they misunderstand? What if they judge you? This push and pull between speaking and hiding has been around forever. Even ancient thinkers, like Plato, wondered how difficult it can be for people to share deep truths, and how scary it can be to stand out. They knew speaking your mind often means making yourself vulnerable, like opening a window to your soul. Imagine you've poured your feelings into a poem, or carefully crafted a drawing that means a great deal to you. You might desperately want to show it to your friends or family, hoping they'll see the beauty or the message you put into it. That's the speaking out part. You want to share your creation. But at the very same time, a tiny, nervous voice might whisper, what if they laugh? What if they just don't get it? That's the wanting to hide part. It's the fear of being seen, truly seen, and possibly misunderstood. This feeling, this natural dance between wanting to connect and wanting to protect ourselves, is a core part of being human. It teaches us about true courage, not just loudness, but the bravery to be vulnerable. It reminds us that finding our voice isn't always about making the most noise. It's about learning to understand when to step forward, and when it's okay to pause, listen, and simply be. It's about respecting both the urge to share our light and the quiet need for calm reflection. The known world, the unknown. Have you ever stopped to think about how much you know about the world around you? You learn about history, science, places far away. You know about mountains and oceans, maybe even how electricity works. But what about the world inside you? Your own thoughts, your feelings, why you react the way you do. Here's the thing. Sometimes the world outside feels so much more familiar than the person looking out from your own eyes. It's a quiet puzzle, how we can map continents but still get lost in our own emotions. It's a strange contradiction, isn't it? We spend years studying the known world, collecting facts and figures, but then there's this vast, uncharted territory, right within us. This isn't a new idea though. Thinkers for thousands of years, like the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, told people to know thyself. They understood that learning about yourself is just as important, maybe even harder, than learning about the stars or ancient empires, because your own self can be full of surprises, a mix of light and shadow, confidence and doubt, all at once. Consider this. You might love a certain type of music one day, and then suddenly find yourself drawn to something completely different. Or maybe you're super confident about something at school, like giving a presentation, but then feel really shy when meeting new people, even a small group. You might find you act one way when you're with your family versus your friends. It's like there are different versions of you living side by side, and sometimes they don't seem to match up perfectly. This doesn't mean something is wrong or broken. It means you're complex, growing, like everyone else. Our inner world shifts and changes, just like the weather. So, While you're learning about galaxies and revolutions, about famous people and big events, remember there's also a whole universe to explore right inside your own head and heart. It's okay if that inner world feels a little mysterious sometimes. It's part of growing, part of becoming. You don't need to have all the answers about yourself right now. This journey of understanding who you are, with all your changing thoughts and feelings, with all its beautiful contradictions, is one of the deepest and most important adventures you'll ever take. And that's why it matters so much. It's a journey that never truly ends. Why we play when life is serious isn't. It's strange how we still laugh, or draw, or play games, even when the world feels heavy and serious. You might wonder, what's the point of pretending, or just having fun, when there are so many real problems out there demanding our attention? It seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? To find joy in play when real life often feels so demanding. But here's the thing, play isn't just about escaping reality. It's actually a deep, important part of being human, a fundamental need. Think about it. For thousands of years, people have always played. Ancient civilizations built arenas for games, told stories around fires, and created art that wasn't just practical. They knew, deep down in their bones, that play was a way to understand the world, to practice skills, and to keep their spirits alive against hardship. It's a thread woven into the fabric of our existence. Consider a time you felt really stressed, maybe about a test or something difficult happening at home, and then you picked up a musical instrument, or went outside to shoot some hoops with friends, or just lost yourself in a story you were writing. For those moments, the heavy feeling might have lifted, even just a little. That's because play helps us process things. It lets our minds rest and wander, exploring new possibilities without real-world pressure. It's like a safe space where imagination can stretch and grow, and where feelings can find a gentle release. In a world that asks us to be serious, play reminds us of our own resilience. It helps us practice being brave, or creative, or simply ourselves. It teaches us how to adapt, how to connect with others on a deeper level, and how to find moments of beauty and lightness even when things are profoundly hard. It's not about running away from problems. Instead, it's about gathering strength, finding new perspectives, and keeping our curiosity alive. Play is how we remember that joy is still possible, that imagination is a powerful tool, and that our spirits, like seeds, can always push towards the light, even in serious soil. It is how we stay whole. The courage to be scared. Have you ever thought about what it really means to be brave? We often imagine heroes who feel no fear, charging into danger. But what if true courage isn't about not being scared, but something much deeper? Here's the thing, courage isn't the opposite of fear. It's more like a quiet conversation with fear. It's feeling your knees tremble, your heart beat fast, and still choosing to take that step. It's knowing something might be hard, but doing it anyway. This isn't about ignoring the scary parts. It's about seeing them and deciding they won't stop you. It's a contradiction. To be brave, you must first feel scared. For thousands of years, people have wrestled with this idea. Ancient thinkers didn't just praise fearless people. They respected those who, despite their fears, stood firm. Think about someone speaking up when others are silent, or admitting a mistake when it's easier to hide. That bravery isn't about muscle. It's about quiet inner power, a strength of spirit. Imagine giving a presentation to your class. Your stomach might do flip-flops. Your palms might get sweaty. That's fear. But if you take a deep breath, walk to the front, and start speaking, even if your voice shakes a little, that's courage. You didn't stop being scared. You just acted despite being scared. Or think about trying out for a team when you're unsure. The fear of failure is real, but stepping onto the field anyway, that's where the courage lives. Maybe the bravest. The thing is to simply allow ourselves to feel scared, to understand being afraid is human, not a weakness. Then, acknowledging our fear, we find a strange, gentle strength. It's the strength not to fight fear, but to carry it with us, like a shadow, as we move forward. That, in itself, is profound freedom. Being real, wearing a mask. Have you ever felt like you showed different versions of yourself, depending on who you're with? Like maybe you're one person with your best friends, another with your parents, and completely different when you're talking to a teacher. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? This idea of being real versus wearing a mask is a really old one, a question that sits right at the heart of how we understand ourselves and our place in the world. For centuries, people have thought about this. Think of ancient Greek actors, for instance, who wore special masks in their plays. These weren't just disguises. Instead, they helped the audience instantly understand the character's emotion or role. In a way, those masks helped the actors become something bigger, something that spoke to everyone. They showed that in life, we often play different parts, take on different roles. It's not necessarily about being fake. It's more about how we naturally adjust our light to fit the unique room we're in. Here's a common example. When you're hanging out with your friends after school, you might use slang words, share inside jokes, and just be totally relaxed and loud. But then, imagine you're talking to a principal about an important school project. You'd likely choose different words, stand a little taller, and sound more serious. Are you less real in one situation than the other? Not really. Both of those versions are still very much you. One simply highlights a different part of who you are, a part that fits the specific moment. This isn't about tricking anyone, not really. It's about learning how to navigate the complicated world around us. We learn to adapt, to present the part of ourselves that is most helpful or appropriate for a given situation. The quiet contradiction here is that even by showing only a part of ourselves, we are still, deeply, being ourselves. Every subtle mask we wear, every role we play, is still a vital piece of the whole, complicated, wonderful person that is you. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, if the truest you is not just one fixed thing, but a flowing, ever-changing collection of all these beautiful, shifting faces. The fast lane, the slow path. Have you ever felt the push and pull of time? One part of you wants to rush, to finish everything right now, get it done, move fast, get to the next thing. This is the fast lane. It's about speed, about getting ahead, quickly, about results you can see right away. But then, there's this other feeling, isn't there? A whisper that tells you to slow down, to take your time, to really see what you're doing, to let things grow naturally. That's the slow path. Here's the thing, these two ideas often feel like opposites, but they live right next to each other, inside us, in the world. For a long time, people have thought about this. Ancient stories often talk about how patience wins in the end, or how rushing can lead to mistakes. Think about the tortoise and the hare. The hare was all about the fast lane, but the slow, steady tortoise won the race. It's a simple story, but it holds a big truth. This isn't just about races, though. Think about learning something new, like playing an instrument or even understanding a tough math problem. You could try to rush through it, memorize answers, without truly getting them. That's the fast lane approach. You might pass a test, but you won't really learn. But if you take the slow path, practicing a little bit every day, making mistakes, going back over hard parts, that's when real learning happens. It feels slower, right? But in the long run, you build a deeper understanding that sticks. With you become truly skilled, not just quick. So the fast lane might get you somewhere fast, but the slow path often gets you to a better, more lasting place. It's a reminder that sometimes the quickest way forward is to take your time. It's about knowing when to sprint and when to simply walk, letting wisdom grow with each careful step. It teaches us that true progress often isn't about speed, but about depth. Wanting to stay, needing to go. Have you ever felt caught between two very different feelings, like a quiet tug-of-war inside you? It's that familiar ache of wanting things to stay exactly the same, safe and known, while a deeper part of you knows it's time to move forward, to let go. This feeling, this contradiction, is a gentle push and pull at the heart of growing up, and really, at the heart of existence itself. Think about it. From the earliest stories told around campfires, humans have faced journeys. Heroes leave their comfortable homes, not because they want to, but because they need to. This idea of leaving the familiar is woven into every tale of adventure, every historical migration. This isn't just about big journeys across land, it's about the smaller, everyday ones too. Here's an example. Remember when you were little, and you had that one favorite blanket or toy? You probably loved it so much, you never wanted to let it go. It brought you comfort, but then, as you got a bit older, you slowly, maybe without even realizing it, started to move on. That blanket might still be special, but you don't carry it everywhere anymore. You needed to step into new adventures, new ways of playing, even if a part of you wanted to stay wrapped up in that old sense of security. It's like a tree releasing its leaves in autumn. The leaves want to hold on, green and vibrant, but the tree knows they need to fall for new growth to come in spring. This feeling of wanting to stay, but needing to go, it's not a weakness. It's a quiet strength, a sign that you're moving. Through life's seasons, it shows you understand that growth often means letting go, even when it feels a little sad. And that's okay. It's part of what makes life deeply real and wonderfully new. The brightness of dark times. Have you ever wondered if something truly good can come from a really bad time? It seems like a strange thought, doesn't it? When things are hard, or sad, or confusing, it's natural to feel only the weight of that darkness. But here's the thing. Sometimes the deepest shadows can actually help us see the light more clearly. It's one of those quiet contradictions that live at the heart of our lives. Think about it this way. For centuries, people have found strength in their struggles. Philosophers, even ancient ones, often spoke about how difficulty can build character. It's like how a tree grows stronger roots when it faces strong winds, or how many great artists and writers found their deepest inspiration during personal sorrow or troubled times in history. Without the contrast of darkness, the true brightness of courage, kindness, and understanding might not shine so vividly. Consider a simple, everyday example. Maybe you've worked really hard on something, like a big project for school, and it felt super difficult. You might have felt tired or frustrated, like you were in a dark tunnel. But as you kept going, pushing through the challenges, you learned so much more than if it had been easy. And when you finally finished, the feeling of accomplishment wasn't just good, it felt incredibly bright and earned. That struggle, that dark time of hard work, actually helped you grow and made the success feel even sweeter. So, perhaps darkness isn't always empty. Sometimes it holds a hidden gift, a chance for us to discover new parts of ourselves, or to appreciate the moments of joy we might have taken for granted. It teaches us about resilience, about picking ourselves up, and about the quiet power of hope. And that's a beautiful thought, even in the toughest of times. Why we try so hard, then give up? Why do we pour so much of ourselves into a task, a dream, a new skill, only to feel its spark dim, and then, sometimes, let it go entirely? It's a strange thing, isn't it? We begin with such fire, such a clear picture of what we want. We try so hard, we push past tiredness, past frustration, we imagine success. But then, a quiet wave of weariness washes over us. The vision blurs, the effort feels heavy, and the finish line seems to disappear into the fog. This isn't a new feeling. People have wondered about this for a very long time. Thinkers, even from ancient times, observed how humans can be incredibly persistent, yet also strangely fragile in their resolve. It's like we have two opposing forces within us, one that says, keep going, you can do this, and another that whispers, it's too much, just rest, what's the point? It's a contradiction at the heart of our own drive. Here's an example. Imagine learning to draw. At first, you're excited, you spend hours sketching, maybe trying to perfectly capture a face or a landscape. Your hand aches, but you keep going because you see improvement. You dream of creating masterpieces. But then, you hit a plateau. Your drawings don't look as good as you want. Other things pull your attention. The blank page starts to feel like a challenge you're not sure you want to face anymore. The pencils sit untouched. The dream of being a great artist hasn't vanished, but the everyday energy to pursue it has. Or at least, it feels that way. This isn't always about failure or lack of effort. Sometimes, the act of trying itself teaches us something profound about ourselves, our limits, our true interests, or simply how to be patient. And sometimes, letting something go isn't quitting. It's simply making space. It's allowing for a pause, a shift, or even the chance for a different kind of spark to ignite, perhaps in an entirely new direction. It's part of the human journey, a quiet lesson in knowing when to push and when to softly release. The power of not doing anything. Have you ever felt like you always need to be busy, always doing something, always moving forward? Our world often tells us that resting is unproductive, that silence is empty. But what if sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all? It sounds strange, right? But here's the thing. Doing nothing isn't about being lazy. It's about choosing to pause and create space. Think about a seed. It sits in the dark earth, seemingly doing nothing. But inside, a quiet change is happening. Roots are forming, energy is gathering, getting ready for a burst of life. For centuries, thinkers have explored this idea. Ancient wisdom, like from Eastern philosophies, talks about the strength in stillness. It's not just sitting still, but quieting your mind, letting thoughts drift by. This lets your inner world settle, like dust in a jar of water. When the dust settles, you can see clearly. Consider a time you were stuck on a problem, maybe a tough essay or a puzzle. You tried everything, got frustrated, and then just walked away for a bit. You might have gone for a walk, listened to music, or just stared out the window. And then, surprisingly, when you came back, the answer suddenly appeared. That's the power of not doing anything. Your brain wasn't actively trying to solve it, but it was still working, connecting ideas in the background, making sense of things without the pressure. It's like how a phone battery recharges when you plug it in and stop using it, or how muscles need rest after exercise to grow stronger. In the quiet moments, when we step back from the constant push, we allow ourselves to recharge. We give our minds and hearts a chance to breathe, to reflect, to notice things we missed. When we were rushing, sometimes the most important actions begin in the calm space of simply being. And that's a deep kind of strength, hidden in plain sight. Being wise, still making mistakes. Have you ever felt truly wise about something, truly understood it, and then made a mistake anyway? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like knowing an answer but stumbling. This happens to us all. Wisdom isn't a magic shield that stops all errors. Think of it more like a deeply rooted tree. It stands strong, knowing its ground, reaching for the sky. But even a wise tree can lose a branch in a storm. Being wise means understanding yourself and the world, not being suddenly perfect. Ancient thinkers, like Socrates, talked about knowing thyself. They believed understanding your own mind was wisdom, but they knew humans are messy. We don't always follow our best advice, even when we see it. Wisdom, they knew, is a journey, not a place where mistakes disappear. Imagine knowing how important kindness is, especially when someone upsets you. Your inner wisdom tells you to be understanding. Yet, sometimes, in anger, a sharp word slips out. Or you know, with all your heart, that taking care of your mental health means stepping away from social media. Your wise self knows this, but you might still scroll for hours, feeling drained. You knew better, but you still did it. This contradicts the right path, but still straying is deeply human. It's not a flaw to hide. Instead, it's an invitation to notice, to learn, to understand ourselves. True wisdom isn't about avoiding mistakes, but about rising after them. Even in us, there's a chance for deeper self-knowledge. Our journey is about learning, always, gently. The sweet taste of bitter moments. Have you ever wondered why some of the hardest moments in life, the ones that sting and feel bitter, can somehow lead to something truly good? It's a strange contradiction, isn't it? Like how a piece of dark chocolate might taste bitter at first, but then it melts into a rich, complex sweetness on your tongue. Here's the thing. Existence often works this way. Pain, loss, or disappointment aren't always just negatives. Sometimes they're exactly what we need to grow, to appreciate joy more deeply, or to discover strength we never knew we had inside us. For a long time, people have thought about this idea. Ancient philosophers, like the Stoics, believed that facing hardships was not something to avoid, but a necessary part of becoming a wiser, stronger person. They didn't mean you should seek out pain, but that when it comes, you can learn from it. It's a bit like how a muscle gets stronger. When you lift weights, your muscles get tiny tears. That process can feel tough, even a little painful, but it's through repairing those tiny tears that your muscles grow back bigger and stronger. The bitter workout leads to a sweet gain in strength. Think about a time you worked super hard for something. Maybe a tough exam or a challenging sports competition. You might have felt stressed, tired, even frustrated. Those were the bitter moments. But when you finally passed that exam or performed well in the game, didn't the success feel even sweeter because of the struggle? It's in those moments of struggle that we often learn the most about ourselves. We discover our limits, and then we push past them. So, perhaps the bitter moments aren't just moments of sadness, but rather hidden ingredients that make the sweet parts of life shine even brighter, giving them a depth we wouldn't have known otherwise. It's a quiet understanding that even in the darkness, there's a kind of light, gently shaping us into who we are meant to be. Why we chase what runs eye. Why do we always seem to desire what's just beyond our fingertips? It's a strange and beautiful pull, isn't it? Like a whisper heard only when we lean in close. a melody that fades just as we grasp it. We find ourselves drawn not just to the thing, but to the feeling of the chase, the effort, the test of our own will. Here's the thing. What's easy often feels less valuable, less earned, but what's difficult, what makes us stretch, that feels deeply important. For centuries, people have wondered about this. Ancient hunters tracked elusive game for days. There was a deep respect for the challenge. Great thinkers believed true. Wisdom wasn't simply given, but had to be pursued with a passionate heart, often through difficult questions. The very act of seeking, of striving for something rare, added to its worth. It felt like a part of us, earned. Our minds value things more when they require effort. Imagine a really complex puzzle, maybe with 1,000 tiny pieces. When you first look at it, it seems impossible. You might even want to give up. But then, you find a few pieces, connect a small section, and suddenly, the challenge hooks you. It's hard, it takes hours, maybe you get frustrated and walk away for a bit. But the harder it is, the more satisfying it feels when you finally place that last piece. It's no longer just a picture. It's a quiet victory, a testament to your patience and effort. The puzzle truly ran away from being solved, and you, with determination, chased it down. So, maybe our hearts aren't just chasing the thing that runs, but the strength we find within ourselves during the chase. Perhaps it's about discovering how much we truly desire something, and what we're willing to do for it. Sometimes, the greatest treasures aren't found in what's easily handed to us, but in what we bravely reach for, even when it seems just beyond our grasp. Shimmering like a dream, the pursuit itself can be the most precious gift of all. The strength in crying. Have you ever felt a deep sadness, so big it just burst out of you in tears? Maybe you felt frustrated, overwhelmed, or heartbroken. It's okay if you have. For a long time, and even today in some ways, people thought crying was a sign of weakness, especially for boys or men. It was often seen as something to hide, a private moment of defeat. But here's the thing, what if it's the exact opposite? What if crying is actually a quiet, powerful strength? Think about it this way. Our bodies are amazing, built with natural ways to respond to everything. When we get scared, our hearts beat faster to help us run or fight. When we're truly happy, a wide smile spreads across our face. Tears are a natural, built-in response to, a way for our body to deal with strong emotions. Ancient Greek philosophers saw tears as a way to cleanse the soul. They believed tears could wash away heavy feelings, like a rainstorm clearing the air after a long, stuffy day. They weren't just about pain. They were about a needed release. They understood holding everything inside could be incredibly heavy. Imagine, you're carrying a backpack stuffed with heavy rocks. Each rock is a worry, a sadness, a frustration. You keep adding more. If you never put that backpack down, you'd eventually collapse, right? Crying is like opening that backpack and letting some of those heavy feelings spill out onto the ground. It doesn't mean you're weak for needing a break. It means you're strong enough to know your limits and give yourself that break. It's a brave act of self-care. Science backs this up a bit. When we cry from emotion, our tears contain stress hormones. It's like our body is literally trying to get rid of what's making us feel overwhelmed. So, it's not just a feeling, it's a physical process of letting go, helping your body return to a calmer state. So the next time tears come, maybe don't see them as a failure or shame. See them as a brave act of honesty. See them as a moment your heart is openly communicating what it's carrying, asking for time to process. Crying isn't about breaking down. It's about opening up, allowing yourself to feel deeply, to heal, and to move forward a little lighter. And that, truly, is a profound strength. The big feelings in small things. Have you ever picked up something tiny, almost nothing at all, and felt a huge rush of memories or a powerful feeling inside? Maybe it was an old ticket stub, a faded drawing, or a smooth, perfect stone you found years ago. Here's the thing. Sometimes, the smallest things hold the biggest feelings. They can carry huge emotional weight, even if they seem unimportant from the outside. This idea isn't new. People for thousands of years, like the ancient Greek philosophers, thought about how huge truths could be found in very simple, everyday things. They knew that looking closely at something small might show you something deep about life or human nature. It's like how a single raindrop, if you really look at it, holds the entire reflection of the sky. The tiny thing itself is simple, but what it shows you is vast and complex. Think about a small, worn photograph. It's just a piece of paper, maybe a few inches wide, with some faded colors on it. But that picture might hold a moment of pure joy from a long ago summer afternoon, or it might show a face you miss terribly, making you feel a pang of sadness. So, in that one tiny object, you have a mix of happiness and sorrow, of presence and absence, all at once. That's a contradiction. Isn't it? A small piece of paper holding such big, conflicting emotions, and that's why it matters. The biggest parts of life, the most profound contradictions, aren't always found in grand speeches or huge events. Often, they are hidden right there, in the small, quiet things we hold in our hands or pass by every day. Paying attention to these small things can show us the deep, tangled beauty of our existence. They remind us that even the simplest objects can be packed with meaning, joy, and sometimes a little bit of sorrow, all woven together. Why we need others, but also space. Have you ever felt that strange, gentle pull in two different directions at once? Maybe you're with your friends, laughing, feeling totally connected, and it's the best feeling. But then, a little while later, you might feel a quiet whisper inside, a longing for your own space, your own thoughts. A closed door, a peaceful moment alone, can suddenly feel like pure gold. It's a bit like needing both the warmth of a campfire with others and the quiet comfort of your own sleeping bag under the stars. Here's the thing, humans are truly built for connection. For thousands of years, our ancestors lived in groups, hunted, and told stories. We learned from each other, found safety in numbers, and built communities. Great thinkers, even back in ancient Greece, understood this. Philosophers like Aristotle saw us as social animals, meaning we thrive when part of a group, sharing life. This deep need to belong, to share joys and sorrows, flows through our very history. But then there's the other side. Imagine looking at a detailed sculpture. You can see it up close. But to truly appreciate its overall shape, you need to step back, to give it space. That's a lot like us. We need time alone to think, to sort through feelings, to let our minds wander freely. It's in these quiet moments that we recharge, reflect, and get to know ourselves better. Think about your phone. It connects you to everyone, but every once in a while, it needs to be plugged in, by itself, to recharge. If you don't give it that quiet time, it simply stops working. So, this isn't a flaw, it's just part of being human. We are like waves in a vast ocean, always part of something bigger, but each wave also rises and falls on its own, needing its moment of separate existence. Learning to respect both these needs for togetherness and for solitude is a quiet kind of strength. It helps us show up more fully, more genuinely, for others, because we've first listened to our own inner world. And understanding this gentle rhythm makes life feel more balanced, more true. The calm before the storm, the storm's calm. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the quietest moments feel the most uncertain? We often talk about the calm before the storm, meaning peace can be a warning sign. It's like everything is still, holding its breath, before something loud happens. You might feel it when the air grows heavy and silent just before a thunderstorm breaks, or when a quiet hush falls over a crowd before a big game starts. This quiet isn't always comforting. Sometimes it's filled with a strange tension of waiting. Here's the thing about the storm's calm. This is finding peace right in the middle of chaos. Think about it. Life isn't just one smooth path. It's full of changes, some easy, some really tough. Ancient thinkers understood this. They knew that light often holds a tiny bit of dark, and dark holds a tiny bit of light. They taught that everything moves in cycles, and opposites are always connected. So, even in the most intense situations, a kind of stillness can exist. Consider the eye of a hurricane. Outside this calm center, fierce winds howl and rain lashes. It's absolute chaos, a wild force. Step into the eye, and suddenly, the winds die down. The sun might even peek through the clouds. It's a strange, quiet space, surrounded by power. This isn't a calm before anything. It's a calm within, the storm itself. This idea shows us something. Sometimes, peace isn't just quiet outside. It's about finding a quiet place inside. Even when the world around us is loud and messy, we can learn to breathe and simply be, even when life feels overwhelming. It teaches us that calmness isn't always about waiting for trouble to pass. Sometimes, it's about finding our own steady ground right in the middle of it all. It reminds us that even when things are tough, a quiet strength can always be found. The choice to be stuck or free. Have you ever felt truly stuck? like your feet are glued to the floor, even when there's nothing actually holding you back. Maybe it's a difficult class, a confusing argument with a friend, or just a day that feels heavy. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? As if you're trapped, but the trap is invisible. Here's the thing. This feeling of being stuck often holds a secret. It carries a quiet contradiction at its heart. On one side, there's the world outside, with all its rules, challenges, and things we can't control. And then, on the other side, there's us. We have this deep, inner power to choose how we see things, how we respond, and even how we feel. This is the choice between being truly stuck or finding a path to freedom. Long ago, wise thinkers realized something powerful about this. They understood that while we can't always pick what happens to us, like a rainy day when you planned to play outside, we can always choose our reaction. We can choose to be grumpy and let the rain ruin everything. Or we can choose to find a new game indoors, or even just enjoy the sound of the drops. That choice, simple as it sounds, is a huge kind of freedom. Think about a time you had a really tough homework assignment. Maybe you stared at it, feeling completely lost. You could choose to get overwhelmed, tell yourself you're bad at it, and give up. That's like choosing to stay stuck in that feeling. But you could also choose to take a deep breath, break the problem into smaller parts, ask for help, or even just try one more time. That's choosing freedom, even within a difficult task. The contradiction isn't just in the big moments, it's in the quiet flicker of our minds every day. We are always facing doors, some closed by the world, others by our own thoughts. And in those moments, we hold a key, the choice to turn away, or to look for another way through. This quiet power to shift our view is a gentle reminder that we are rarely as stuck as we might feel. And that's a truly beautiful thing to carry with you. Being right, but being wrong. Have you ever felt completely sure about something? Like, deep down in your bones, you just knew you had it right. And then, just a little while later, the world shifts, and you realize your perfect rightness wasn't so perfect after all. Here's the thing. Sometimes we can be absolutely correct within a small piece of what we know, but still be wrong when we look at the whole picture. It's like seeing one tiny piece of a puzzle, and being sure you know what the final image is, only to find it's part of something much bigger and different. Think about how people used to understand the world. For a very long time, thinkers and scientists were sure that the Earth was the center of everything. They looked up at the sky and watched the sun, moon, and stars move around us. It made perfect sense from their view here on Earth. So, they were right based on what they could see with their own eyes, every day. But as we learned more, as new ideas and tools came along, we found out the Earth actually goes around the sun. Their initial rightness, while understandable for its time, was wrong in the larger, true sense of the universe. It's like when you're sure your friend is ignoring you because they're mad. You see them walk past without saying hello, and in your mind, that's proof. You feel right about it. But maybe, just maybe, they were lost in thought, or didn't see you, or had something huge on their mind. Your feeling of being right about them being mad was true for your limited view at that moment, but it was wrong about the deeper reality. This isn't about being foolish, it's about how much we don't know, and how our understanding grows. It teaches us to be a little humble, to know that what feels completely true today might only be part of a bigger truth we'll discover tomorrow. And that quiet understanding, that willingness to let our rightness shift, is a beautiful way to learn and to grow. The weight of being light-hearted. Have you ever felt like you had to be happy, or felt a strange pressure, even when things were good? It sounds weird, right? Lightness is usually about being free, floating, no worries. But here's the thing. Sometimes, being light-hearted can feel surprisingly heavy. It's like carrying something invisible. This contradiction shows us that even joy has its own kind of depth. It's not always simple, easy. For a long time, people have talked about balance. Ancient thinkers knew that life wasn't just one thing. It's a mix. They understood that even bright sunshine casts shadows. Being light-hearted, truly, deeply light-hearted, often means you've also faced shadows. You've known what it's like when things aren't easy, so your joy becomes richer because of it. It holds the memory of harder times. Imagine your friend is going through a tough time. You want to make them laugh. You want to be silly, to lift their spirits. You put on a brave face, tell jokes, try to be really light and fun. And in that moment, even though you're being light-hearted, it takes effort. It's a kind of work. You're giving your energy, your focus, to help someone else feel lighter. That effort, that quiet strength, is the weight of being light-hearted. Or think of a stand-up comedian. They make people laugh, right? But the process of writing jokes, dealing with nerves, performing night after night, that's heavy work. The funny part is just what you see. So, the next time you feel joy, or when you choose to be cheerful, remember this. It's not just a simple feeling. It can hold so much more. It can hold resilience. It can hold understanding. And that makes it a powerful thing. It shows us that even the brightest parts of life can have a beautiful, quiet depth to them. It makes us appreciate the strength it takes to keep a light spirit, even when the world feels heavy. Why we seek order in chaos. Have you ever wondered why we try so hard to make sense of things, even when life feels completely messy? It's a deep question, isn't it? Our minds, it seems, are built to look for patterns, to connect the dots. Even when the dots seem scattered everywhere, we just can't help but search for meaning. Think about it like this. Imagine the world before clocks, before maps. People would look up at the vast, confusing sky, filled with countless stars. They didn't see just random lights. No, their minds wanted to make sense of it. So, they started to draw lines, connecting the stars to form pictures, animals, heroes, symbols. They created constellations. This wasn't about what was actually there, but about our very human need to bring order to something so grand and overwhelming. It gave them comfort, a story to hold on to. This pull to organize, to understand, is still a big part of us today. It's why you might sort your school notes by subject, even when you could just throw them all in a pile. It's why scientists try to find simple rules for how the universe works, like gravity, instead of seeing every falling leaf as a random event. We want to know why things happen, and we want to feel like there's a reason behind it all. Our brains want to create a story, even when the world seems to whisper many different ones at once. This isn't about everything being perfectly neat. Instead, it's a quiet, hopeful way we try to understand our place in a world full of amazing contradictions. It's about finding a rhythm in the wild, beautiful dance of existence. The freedom of saying nothing. Have you ever found yourself in a moment where the most powerful thing you could do was simply say nothing at all? It's a strange idea, isn't it? We often think of freedom as being able to say whatever we want. But true freedom also means choosing not to speak. It's not about being shy or having nothing to say. It's about a deliberate choice, a quiet power. For centuries, wise people across cultures valued silence. Ancient philosophers sat in quiet thought. Spiritual leaders taught that true listening starts when you stop planning what to say next. They knew silence isn't empty. It's full of thought, listening, and observing. Sometimes, a thoughtful pause or a silent nod can mean more than 100 rushed words. The ancient Greeks admired a kind of noble silence, seeing it as wisdom and self-control. It was about quiet strength. Consider music. What makes a song powerful? It's not just the notes, but the silences between them. Those quiet spaces let the music breathe. They give each note meaning and impact. Without them, a song would be jumbled. In the same way, the space we create by not speaking allows other things to be heard or understood, like another person's quiet feelings, or your own inner voice. The freedom of saying nothing is a quiet superpower. It gives you space to think, listen, and feel what's happening without immediate reaction. It's a way to reclaim your inner calm and choose your moments wisely, and that's why it matters. It teaches us that sometimes the deepest conversations happen not with our voices, but within the quiet spaces of our own minds. The want to win, the lesson of losing. Have you ever felt that powerful rush, that deep hunger to win, to be the best, to cross the finish line first, to get the highest score? It's a feeling almost everyone understands, this deep desire for victory. We chase it, we work for it. Sometimes it feels like everything depends on it. But here's the thing, for every winner, there's someone who didn't win. For every triumph, there's a moment of loss. It's in these moments, in the quiet space, after defeat, that some of the deepest lessons are found. People for thousands of years, from ancient Greece to our own time, have talked about this strange truth. They noticed how much we grow, not just from our successes, but especially from our struggles and our falls. Imagine learning to ride a bike. You push off, pedal hard, you wobble, and you fall. Maybe your knee gets scraped. In that moment, you don't feel like a winner, but you get back up. You adjust. You learn about balance, about how hard to push, about keeping your eyes up. That scraped knee, that moment of falling, actually teaches you more about riding than a perfect first try ever could. The want to win gets you on the bike, but the lesson of losing is what truly teaches you to ride. So, while we are built to strive, to reach for victory, remember that losing isn't an ending, it's a whisper, a quiet teaching. It helps us see new paths, understand our own strength, and learn kindness for ourselves and others. The wanting to win is bright and loud, but the lesson of losing glows with a deeper, calmer wisdom, guiding us forward. Being heard, not understood. Have you ever talked to someone, really poured out your feelings, and then felt like they just didn't get it? They heard your words, for sure, every single one, but the feeling behind them, the real meaning, seemed to float right past. This is a strange part of being human, the gap between being heard and being truly understood. Here's the thing, when we speak, we send a message. It's like throwing a stone across a lake. Someone might see it land, they might even hear the splash, but do they know why you threw it? Do they feel its weight in your hand? Do they understand the ripple it made inside you? Often no. Our words are sounds. Understanding is the echo that lands in another person's soul. People have wondered about this for a long time. It's like we each live in our own world of feelings. When we talk, our words have our world's filter. When someone else listens, they hear it through their filter. This often means we talk past each other. It's just how complex connecting can be. Think about this. You tell a friend, "I'm really tired." They hear the words. They might say, "Oh, too bad." But what if you're not just sleepy? What if you're tired of trying so hard, or carrying a heavy worry? They hear tired, but they might not feel the deep weariness in your bones, the kind sleep can't fix. It's like hearing a song in a language you don't know. You hear notes, but the story is lost. This contradiction reminds us how precious true understanding is. It's a gift. It's a bridge built with patience. It teaches us to listen not just with our ears, but with our hearts. We try to peek into another's world, and it reminds us that sometimes, even when we feel alone in our thoughts, that feeling is a shared human experience. We are all searching to be truly seen, truly felt, in this noisy world. The way joy can feel like grief. Have you ever felt so incredibly happy, so full of a moment, that it almost made you sad? It sounds strange, right? How can joy and grief even be in the same room? But sometimes, when we experience something truly beautiful or deeply joyful, there's a quiet whisper of sadness that comes with it. It's the feeling that this perfect moment won't last forever. Or maybe it's the thought of all the moments you didn't get to share with someone, even as you're making new, happy memories. Don't think about ancient stories or poems. People have talked about this for ages. It's like the idea that the brighter a star shines, the more obvious its eventual fading might seem. Or how a painter finishes a masterpiece, and there's a little ache knowing the creative journey is over, even though the painting is wonderful. This isn't a new feeling, it's just part of being human. Here's the thing, imagine your last day of 8th grade. You're so excited for summer, for high school, for new adventures. You're celebrating with your friends, laughing, signing yearbooks. That's pure joy. But then, as you look around at everyone, there's this little pang. This is the end of an era. You might not see some of these friends as often. That happy, exciting feeling is mixed with a quiet kind of loss. If joy can feel like grief, have you ever felt so incredibly happy? A joy that fills you up, but then, a strange, quiet sadness seems to sneak in right beside it. It's a curious feeling, isn't it? Like sunshine and shadow holding hands. This isn't about being ungrateful for the joy, or like something went wrong. It's about how deeply we can feel, and how big emotions often touch their opposites. Here's the thing, sometimes, when we experience something truly wonderful, a part of us knows it's precious, and that makes it feel fragile. That happiness is beautiful, but it might also make us think about how quickly time passes, or how some good things eventually end. For thousands of years, people have noticed this strange mix. Ancient Greek thinkers and even poets from far away lands explored how life is full of these connections, how light needs darkness to be seen, and how joy can remind us of sorrow's edge. They understood that these feelings aren't separate, but woven into the same fabric of being human. Think about the last day of summer vacation. You might have been so excited for the break, for all the freedom, and you probably had amazing, joyful moments. But then, As that last day winds down, a quiet sadness starts to gather. You're happy for the fun you had, but also a little sad it's ending. You might feel a pang of longing for moments that are already memories. It's not that you didn't love your summer, it's that you loved it so much, you feel the gentle ache of its passing. And that's why it matters. This mix of feelings isn't a sign of weakness. Instead, it shows how deeply you're alive, how much you connect with the world around you. It's proof that your heart is big enough to hold both the brightest light and the softest shadows. Understanding that one often makes the other more real. Why being open can be scary. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard to truly open up? To show someone your deepest thoughts or feelings you keep hidden? It's a strange thing, isn't it? We crave connection, but we also build walls. Here's the thing, being truly open means being vulnerable. It means taking off the armor we wear to protect ourselves, letting others see the parts of us that feel sensitive or unsure. And that can feel incredibly risky. For a long, long time, across many cultures, people learned to protect their face, their reputation, their inner world. Think about ancient philosophers or knights in shining armor. There was often a sense that showing weakness or being too emotional could make you seem less powerful. It wasn't just about personal shame. Sometimes it was about survival within a group or society. If you revealed your fears, would you be seen as weak? Would you be taken advantage of? This isn't just an old idea. It's deep inside us. Our brains are wired to keep us safe. And for our ancestors, being exposed to threat often meant physical danger. Today, that threat often feels emotional. Imagine you're a tiny snail, and your shell is your home, your protection. It keeps you safe from birds, from the sun, from anything that might hurt you. But to move, to explore, to connect with another snail, you have to peek out. You have to extend yourself, soft and unprotected, into the big wide world. That's a bit like us. When we choose to share a secret, or admit we don't understand something in class, or tell someone we care about them, we're peeking out from our shell. We risk being judged, or misunderstood, or even hurt. But here's what I found. While being open feels like a risk, it's also the only way to really feel seen. It's where true trust grows. It's a quiet bravery, knowing that the most fragile parts of us are also the bridges to true connection. And that's why it matters. It teaches us that hiding can keep us safe, but opening up can make us strong in a different, more profound way. The goodness in bad situations. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, after a really hard time, something good can quietly grow from it? It's a strange thought, isn't it? Like a storm that clears the air, leaving everything fresh and clean. We often think of bad as just bad, end of story. But here's the thing. Existence often holds both light and shadow in the same hand, showing us a deeper truth about ourselves and the world. Think back to ancient times, to thinkers like the Stoics. These philosophers weren't saying we should enjoy pain. Instead, they understood that life will always bring difficulties, big and small. Their idea was that while we can't always pick what happens to us, we can't stop the rain, we can choose how we respond to it. They saw challenges not as just roadblocks, but as chances to become stronger, wiser, more patient, almost like an unexpected training ground for the soul. They believed that true strength came from facing hard things with a calm mind, learning, and growing through them. Imagine a simple example. A plant. Sometimes, a plant has to push through hard soil, or survive a strong wind. This isn't easy for the plant, but the struggle forces its roots to grow deeper, its stem to become stronger. It's the very resistance that builds its resilience. Or, in our own lives, think about learning a new skill, like playing a musical instrument, or solving a tricky math problem. At first it feels difficult, maybe even frustrating. You hit wrong notes, you make mistakes, but each mistake, each moment of struggle, teaches you something. It helps you understand where you went wrong, and then you try again, a little better, a little stronger. The bad feeling of frustration can lead to the good feeling of mastery and accomplishment. This isn't about saying that suffering is fun, or that we should seek out tough times, but it's about recognizing that sometimes, in the quiet aftermath of a struggle, we find a new kind of inner strength, a deeper understanding of ourselves and others, or a clearer path forward that we never saw before. The darkness isn't just empty, it can be the rich soil from which something truly beautiful and meaningful begins to grow, helping us become more truly ourselves, quietly shaped by the very things that once seemed to break us. taking control, letting go. Have you ever felt that quiet pull inside you? That need to steer your own ship, to make every decision, to control what happens next? We all feel it. We work hard for grades, try to make friends happy, or practice a skill until our hands ache. That's us, taking control. It feels powerful, doesn't it? Like we're in charge of our own story. But then, there's the other side, the feeling that some things aren't ours to command. No matter how much we wish or try, some parts of life just unfold on their own. People have wondered about this push and pull for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers, watching stars move or seasons change, noticed some things follow their own path, untouched by human will. They understood that trying to control everything often leads to a tangled knot of worry. And that's why it matters, learning when to hold tight and when to gently let go. Think about trying to grow a garden. You pick the seeds, prepare the soil, water them carefully every day. That's you taking control, doing the right things. But you can't control the weather, can you? You can't force the sun to shine, or stop a sudden storm. You put in the work, you nurture, but then you have to trust the rest to nature. You let go of needing to control every raindrop or ray of light. And here's the thing, true strength isn't about controlling everything. It's about knowing which battles are yours to fight, and which moments call for a soft breath and an open hand. It's about understanding that sometimes the most powerful thing is simply allowing life to be. This quiet balance between trying your best and accepting what comes is a beautiful, deeply human way to walk through the world. It brings a calm kind of peace. The beauty of imperfect things. Have you ever stopped to think about what makes something truly beautiful? Is it always something flawless, perfectly smooth and shiny? Or is there a quiet, deep beauty in things that are a little bit worn, or just not quite perfect? Here's the thing, often, the most interesting things in life have a few rough edges. Think about an old favorite book. The pages might be crinkled, the cover bent. Those marks tell a story. They show how much it was loved, how often it was opened. A brand new book is nice, but the old one has a soul. This idea isn't new. For hundreds of years, people have found beauty in things that aren't perfect. In Japan, there's an old way of seeing things called wabi-sabi. It's about finding beauty in what is natural, simple, and even a bit old or worn. It's about appreciating how things change over time. A cracked ceramic bowl fixed with gold, called kintsugi, becomes even more precious. The gold highlights the break, not hides it. Think about a tree outside. A perfectly straight, smooth tree is fine. But what about the one with a gnarled branch twisting strangely, or bark that's rough and bumpy? Those imperfections give it character. They show how it has weathered storms, how it has grown. It's unique, and that uniqueness draws your eye. So, here's what I found. Maybe true beauty isn't about being flawless. Maybe it's about having a story, about showing life's journey. When we learn to see the beauty in imperfect things, it helps us see the beauty in ourselves and in others. Even with all our quirks, those very imperfections are what make us truly, wonderfully ourselves. Why we look forward, but live backwards. Have you ever thought about how strange time is? We always look ahead, don't we? We plan for tomorrow, for next week, for our future. We dream about what's coming and who we want to be. But here's the thing. While our eyes are fixed on the horizon, our lives are actually shaped by what's behind us. We move into the future, but we do it based on everything that has already happened. It's like we're walking forward, but checking our footsteps in the rearview mirror. This idea that we're always moving into an unknown future, but using the known past, has puzzled thinkers for ages. The ancient Greeks, for example, had different ways of seeing time. They saw it as flowing, like a river. You can't step into the same river twice, right? But the banks of that river, the lessons, the memories, they stay. They're the path we've already walked. It's a deep contradiction. Our hopes pull us forward, but our experiences push us from behind. Think about riding a bike. When you ride, you're always looking where you want to go. You look at the path ahead, the turn you need to make. But to stay balanced, to know how fast to go, to remember how to pedal and steer, you rely on every single time you've ridden before. Every wobble, every fall, every smooth ride, that's all in your past, teaching your body how to move now for the next moment. You don't learn to ride by just looking forward. You learn by doing and remembering. So, we live this way, always stepping into the new, but carrying the old with us. Our past isn't just a collection of memories, it's the very foundation of who we are, what we believe, and how we act. It's the quiet wisdom that whispers to us as we face the unknown. And maybe, in this strange backward-forward dance, there's a quiet beauty. It reminds us that every step we take is both new and deeply connected to every step before it. It's how we grow, always reaching forward, but standing on the ground of yesterday. The spark of doubt in belief. Have you ever been completely sure about something, truly certain in your heart or mind? But then, what if a tiny question, a quiet whisper, started to drift in? That feeling, what is it? That small, unsettling feeling is the spark of doubt. It's not about suddenly changing your mind. It's a tiny crack appearing in something you thought was solid. It's a quiet what if, when everything else is saying yes. For ages, many people believed the earth sat still, right at the universe's center. The sun, the stars, all seemed to spin around us. This idea made perfect sense from what they could see daily. It was a firm, shared belief. But over many, many years, some brave thinkers started to look closer. They noticed small details in the sky, tiny movements that just didn't quite fit the old belief. It was like seeing a shadow that didn't quite match the object. That small spark of doubt, for people like the astronomers who followed ancient ideas, didn't make them instantly disbelieve. Instead, it pushed them to ask tougher questions, to look for different answers. They wondered, what if there's another way to see this whole thing? So, when that spark of doubt appears, don't think of it as a threat. It's not a sign you're wrong or weak. Instead, it can be a really brave step. It's your mind actively exploring, trying to understand things more deeply. It shows you're not just accepting, but truly thinking, building beliefs that are more truly yours, or finding new, amazing truths. Being alone, still feeling connected. Have you ever found yourself completely alone? Maybe in your room late at night, or walking through a quiet park. And in that quiet, did you still feel a strange sense of connection, like you weren't truly by yourself? It's a puzzle, isn't it? How can we be separate from everyone, yet still feel linked to the world? This feeling points to a deep truth about us. Even when no one else is around, our minds are full of connections. We carry memories of people we love, lessons from teachers, stories from books. Ancient philosophers, thousands of years ago, sat alone, wondering about the stars. They felt connected to something bigger, to the vast universe, and to questions all humans share. They knew that even alone, our thoughts can reach across time and space. Here's an example. Imagine you're curled up with your favorite book. You're alone in your chair, right? But as you read, you're pulled into another world. You connect with the characters. You feel what they feel. You're linked to the author's mind and their ideas, even if they lived centuries ago. And you're part of a community of millions of other readers who have shared that same experience. You're alone with the book, but deeply connected to a whole network of thoughts and feelings. So, being alone doesn't always mean being disconnected. Sometimes, it's when we step back from the noise of the world that we can truly feel the quiet threads that tie us to everything. It's like our inner world is always reaching out, a silent whisper that reminds us we are part of something vast and beautiful, no matter how far away we are. This feeling can be a comfort, knowing that even in quiet moments, we are never truly apart. The heavy truths that feel light. Has it ever struck you how some of the deepest thoughts, the ones that feel like giant mountains of understanding, can also feel incredibly light? We often expect big, serious truths to be heavy, to weigh on our minds, right, like a backpack filled with rocks. But sometimes, the very things that seem profound, or even a bit scary, end up making us feel free instead. It's like an interesting twist. The more truth you carry, the lighter you feel. Think about people who thought deeply long ago. They explored ideas about how everything changes, or how nothing truly lasts. This sounds like a sad, heavy thought, doesn't it? That everything is temporary, that moments pass. But for many, understanding this brought a calm peace. They saw that accepting change was a way to live more fully, without constantly fighting how things are. Imagine you're trying really hard to be perfect at something, maybe a sport, or a school project. The heavy truth is that mistakes happen. You might mess up. That idea can feel heavy, like a big rock in your stomach. But then, if you truly understand that, making mistakes is how we learn, and it's okay not to be perfect, that heavy feeling can just lift. It doesn't mean you don't care, but it frees you from the huge pressure of being flawless. It's like gravity isn't pulling on your worries anymore. So sometimes the ideas that seem difficult, or even a bit dark at first, like the truth about change or imperfection, are actually the ones that bring a quiet comfort. They don't weigh us down, they show us a way to float. They teach us that accepting what is, even if it's hard to face, can make our hearts incredibly light. It's a gentle kind of wisdom. Why we follow rules we don't believe. Have you ever looked at a rule and thought, that makes no sense? Maybe it's a rule at school, or at home. But then, even if you don't agree with it, you follow it anyway. What's going on there? Here's the thing, we often follow rules, not because we believe they are perfectly wise or fair, but because something deeper is at stake. Sometimes, it's about avoiding trouble. No one wants detention. Other times, it's about fitting in, keeping the peace, or just making things easier. It's a quiet agreement, a silent nod to how we live together. Think about people living in ancient cities. They might have had laws that seemed harsh, but for a society to work, for people to feel safe, everyone generally had to agree to these laws. It wasn't about believing every rule was perfect. It was about choosing order over chaos. Philosophers call this a social contract. We give up some freedom, like always doing what we want, so we can live together safely. Imagine your school has a rule about not wearing hats inside. Maybe you think it's silly. A hat doesn't hurt anyone, but you still take it off. You do it to avoid a teacher calling you out, but you also do it because it's part of how the school runs. It's a small way you contribute to that shared space, even if you don't fully agree. This makes your day less stressful and lets everyone focus on learning. So, following rules we don't truly believe in isn't about weakness. It's often about strength, a deep understanding that living together means navigating contradictions. It means choosing harmony over personal defiance, knowing that sometimes peace itself is the most important belief to hold. It shows our quiet agreement to build a world where we can all exist, even when we don't always see the comfort of strangers, the distance of family. Have you ever felt it? That strange tug, a moment when a kind word from someone you barely know feels more real, more comforting than anything a close family member might say. It's a quiet puzzle, isn't it? This contradiction lies right at the heart of how we connect, or sometimes, how we don't. Think about it. We're born into families. They are our first world, our first teachers. They're supposed to be our safe harbor, the people who know us best, understand our quirks, and often, they are. But sometimes, the very closeness of family can create a strange kind of distance. Expectations can feel heavy, old stories can get in the way, and it can be hard to truly be yourself without judgment. It's like trying to see your reflection in a funhouse mirror. The picture can be distorted by all the history. Now, imagine a stranger, someone you meet for 5 minutes on a bus, or a cashier at the grocery store. With them, there's no shared history, no long list of expectations. They see you, in that moment, just as you are. And sometimes, that simple, fresh perspective, that one quiet moment of understanding from someone outside your usual circle, can feel incredibly powerful, like a small, warm fire on a cold day, lit by an unexpected hand. This isn't a new idea. Storytellers for centuries have explored how we form bonds beyond blood. They've seen that true connection isn't just about how long you've known someone, but about the quality of the empathy, the shared moment of humanity. It's about the feeling of being truly seen, truly heard, even if just for a fleeting moment. It's a reminder that compassion isn't limited by last names or shared memories. It can bloom anywhere, sometimes in the most unexpected places. And maybe, understanding this helps us see our own families with a little more patience, and the world of strangers with a little more hope. It's a contradiction that whispers of wider connections, telling us that kindness can bridge any gap, no matter how deep. Knowing everything, understanding nothing. Have you ever collected a ton of facts about something, but still felt like you didn't truly get it? Like you know all the pieces, but the full picture just isn't clear. This is a quiet contradiction. At the heart of our lives, we can gather so much knowledge, yet understanding often feels miles away. For a long time, people have learned things. We mapped the stars, named every plant, and wrote down every historical date. We have more information now than ever before, right at our fingertips. But here's the thing. Knowing about gravity, or even knowing the math that describes it, doesn't mean you fully understand its mysterious pull. It doesn't explain why an apple falls, or why our feet stay on the ground. In a way that truly connects with you deep down. Think about a famous song. You can know every single note, every chord, every word of the lyrics. You might even know the history of the band, who wrote it, and when. You know everything there is to know about that song, fact by fact. But does knowing all those facts mean you understand the feeling it creates? Do you truly grasp the emotion, the joy, or the sadness that washes over people when they hear it? That deeper understanding, that emotional connection, is something more than just information. It's often felt, not just learned. This challenge isn't about being dumb or smart. It's about how we learn and grow. Maybe understanding isn't about collecting more data points. Maybe it's about pausing, reflecting, and letting the facts settle in a new way. It's a gentle reminder that sometimes the true meaning of things isn't found in a textbook, but in the quiet space where facts meet feeling, and that's okay. The journey to understand is often more beautiful than just knowing all the answers. The past that pulls, the future that pushes half. You ever felt caught between two directions? One part looking back, remembering, maybe wishing things were different. Another part leaning forward, dreaming, eager for what's next. This feeling, this push and pull, shows a quiet contradiction. The past pulls us, and the future pushes us. Here's the thing, our past doesn't vanish. It lives inside us, woven into who we are. Every laugh, mistake, lesson, they all stick, like shadows. Sometimes, these shadows hold us tight, making us hesitate or keeping us stuck. Imagine trying out for a team and not making it. That memory can pull at you when a new chance comes. People have thought about this for ages. Ancient thinkers talked about time shaping us. Showing what came before helps make us who we are now. But then there's the future. It's unwritten, full of possibilities. It calls to us, whispering about new adventures or new versions of ourselves. This future acts like a gentle but powerful current, always urging us forward, telling us to grow, to try something new. Think about a tough school project. The memory of struggle is the past pulling you to maybe give up, but the desire to finish, learn, and get a good grade, that's the future pushing you. This isn't just about good or bad memories, it's about being human. We carry our history, the paths we've walked, but we also carry our hopes, the paths we dream of walking. We learn from what was, and we reach for what could be. It's a constant, gentle tug-of-war, and in that tension, that push and pull, is where we truly live. It's how we move forward, one thoughtful step at a time, always, caught between what was and what's next. It's a beautiful dance, and we are the dancers. Why we hold on, then let go. Have you ever thought about why we hold on to things so tightly, and then, sometimes, we have to let them go? It's a strange dance we do throughout our lives. We grasp onto memories, friendships, even certain ideas, like they're precious treasures, and they often are. We build comfort around them, a sense of what is familiar and safe. But here's the thing, life is always moving, always changing. It's like a tiny seed holding onto its old shell. For a while, that shell protects it, keeps it safe underground. But for the seed to grow into a plant, to reach for the sun, it has to break free. It has to let go of what kept it small, even if that smallness was once everything it knew. Think about a favorite blanket or a toy from when you were little. Maybe it brought you so much comfort, you held onto it, carried it everywhere. But as you grew, that blanket or toy, while still special, slowly became less of a daily need. You didn't lose your love for it, but you naturally moved on. You made space for new interests, new adventures, new ways to feel safe. Ancient stories and wise people across time have often talked about this natural rhythm. They understood that letting go isn't always about loss. Sometimes, it's about making room for something new to blossom. It's a quiet understanding that everything has its moment. Holding on too long can stop us from growing, from seeing what else the world has to offer. So, we learn to release, not because we don't care, but because we are becoming someone new, always. And that quiet surrender is its own kind of strength. The magic of what's real. Have you ever really stopped to think about what real means? It feels like such a solid, certain thing, doesn't it? Like your chair, or the sound of birds. But here's the thing, what if real is also kind of a mystery, always changing, even when we don't notice it? People have been asking this question for thousands of years. Long ago, some thinkers wondered if what we experience is truly everything, or just a small part of a bigger picture. Imagine people living in a cave, only ever seeing shadows on the wall. To them, those shadows are real. They wouldn't know about the sunlight, the world outside that casts the shadows. It makes you wonder, what are our own shadows we accept as truth without questioning? This might sound complicated, but it happens in daily life, too. Think about a song. It's just sounds and vibrations, right? But that same song can make one person feel incredibly happy and another person feel really sad, bringing back different memories. The song itself hasn't changed, but its reality for each person is different. The physical sound is real, but the emotional truth it creates is also real, even if it contradicts someone else's experience. So, the magic of what's real isn't just about what we can touch or see. It's also about how our minds, our feelings, and our experiences shape it. Reality is a bit of a contradiction. It's both fixed and flowing. It's everything around us, and it's also our own personal way of seeing everything, and that's why it matters. It means we're not just watching life happen, we're actively, quietly, making our own version of reality real, every single day. And that's a beautiful, powerful thing to think about. Being small, affecting big things. Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt tiny, like a speck of dust in an enormous universe? It's easy to feel that way, to think that one small person, one small action, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But here's the thing, existence often shows us the opposite is true. There's a deep, quiet power in being small. Think about it this way. The biggest mountains are made of countless tiny rocks and grains of sand. The mightiest rivers begin as little drops of rain. This idea isn't new. For a long time, thinkers have wondered how something so small can have such a huge impact. They realized that even the smallest spark can light the biggest fire, and a single whisper can change the course of a story. It's like the universe holds a secret about how everything connects, where the tiniest piece can be the most important. Consider a single act of kindness. Maybe you see someone sitting alone at lunch, and you just say, "Hey, can I sit here?" That tiny moment, that one small sentence, might seem like nothing. But for that person, it could change their whole day. It could make them feel seen, less alone, and carry that feeling with them. That feeling then ripples out, affecting how they interact with others, how they see the world, maybe even how they choose to act later. One small kindness leads to another, a quiet chain reaction. So, while we might feel small in the face of everything, remember this, even the smallest stone can cause the biggest ripples in the water. Your choices, your thoughts, your quiet presence, they all carry a weight, a gentle power you might not even notice. It means our existence, no matter how small it feels, always holds the potential to make a difference, to touch the vastness around us in ways we can't always see. And that's why it matters. The constant change, the desire to stay. Have you ever noticed how everything around you, and even inside you, is always moving, always shifting? Think about it. The trees outside your window might look the same, but they're growing, changing, shedding leaves, or getting new ones. The clouds above you are always forming, drifting, disappearing. Your own body, your thoughts, your feelings, they are never exactly the same from one moment to the next. This is a deep puzzle, a contradiction at the heart of living. Because even though everything changes, we often wish it wouldn't. We find something we love, a perfect sunny afternoon, a favorite song that just feels right, a friendship that feels totally solid, and we want that feeling, that moment, to stay forever. We hold on to it. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Long ago, a wise man from ancient Greece, named Heraclitus, famously said, "You can never step into the same river twice. The water is always flowing, always new, and even you, the person stepping in, have changed a little." This simple idea shows us something powerful. Change is the only constant. It's built into the very fabric of existence. Think about a childhood toy you loved. Maybe it's still around, but it feels different now. You're different. The meaning of that toy has changed. Or consider the seasons. We love the warmth of summer, but it always gives way to the coolness of autumn, the quiet of winter, and the newness of spring. Each season is beautiful, but they never stay. So, here's the thing. We live in a world of constant motion, yet our hearts often yearn for stillness, for things to last. It's like a quiet tug-of-war inside us. But maybe, just maybe, Understanding this contradiction helps us appreciate each passing moment even more. It helps us see the beauty, not just in what lasts, but also in the way things flow, allowing new experiences and new versions of ourselves to emerge. It's a gentle reminder to live now, in this ever-changing present. Why we need the dark to see the light. Have you ever looked up at the night sky, far away from city glow, and truly seen the stars? They don't just twinkle. They burst with a brightness you can only appreciate against the deep, endless dark. It's a bit like our lives, isn't it? We understand light because darkness exists. Joy means so much more when we've also felt sadness. It's this contrast that helps us truly understand the world around us. For centuries, people have wrestled with this idea. In ancient China, they spoke of yin and yang not as good versus evil, but as two parts that complete a whole. Think of it like the sunny side of a hill and its shady side. Both are needed to make the hill. Philosophers throughout history have explored how challenges and difficulties aren't just obstacles, but essential parts of learning and growth. They believed that without knowing struggle, we couldn't fully appreciate peace. This can help you understand why even the harder moments have a purpose. Imagine a simple day, completely normal. Then, suddenly, the power goes out. The house is plunged into unexpected darkness. Maybe it feels a little eerie, or perhaps just boring. You stumble around, finding your way by memory. But then, after a while, the electricity flickers back on. That simple light bulb, which you'd never really noticed before, now feels like the most beautiful, comforting glow in the world. You see it differently because you experienced its absence. This everyday moment shows us something deep. We truly understand light only after we've been in the dark. So, here's the thing. Life isn't always bright and easy. There will be quiet moments, sad times, or periods of doubt. But these aren't just empty spaces or problems to fix. They are necessary parts of our journey. They are the background against which our brightest moments shine. It's in the quiet that we might hear our own thoughts most clearly. It's often through overcoming a challenge that we discover our own strength and learn what truly makes us happy. We need the dark, not to suffer, but to truly see and appreciate the profound beauty and meaning in the light. It's how we grow, understand, and learn to cherish every part of our existence. The pain of a new beginning. Why is it that sometimes even good things, like a fresh start, can feel a little bit painful? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? We might wish for a new school year, a move to a new town, or a chance to try something totally different, and when it happens, a part of us feels sad or uneasy. It's a contradiction, the promise of something better, mixed with a quiet ache for what was. Here's the thing. New beginnings often mean letting go of the old. It means saying goodbye to familiar routines, old friends, or even just the way things used to be. That letting go can hurt. It's like losing a piece of what you knew, even if what's coming is better. People have thought about this feeling for ages. Philosophers and poets from long ago noticed how life moves in cycles. An old chapter has to close for a new one to open. They understood that every ending, even a natural one, brings a kind of sorrow, because it means a shift, a change from what was comfortable. Think about a tiny seed in the ground. For it to become a sprout, for life to begin, the seed has to crack open. Its safe, hard shell has to break apart. That breaking must be a struggle, a tiny, internal pain. But this might work for you. Without that struggle, without that breaking, the plant could never push through the soil and reach for the sun. The seed has to lose its seedness to become something more, something new and alive. So, maybe the discomfort we feel with new beginnings isn't a sign that something is wrong. Maybe it's just the sound of growth happening inside us. It's a quiet whisper from the universe, telling us that change is messy, but it's also how we become who we're meant to be. This can help you understand that ache means you're leaving your old self behind, bravely stepping into the unknown. It's part of the journey, and it's okay to feel that ache. It simply means you're alive, and you're growing. Being awake, feeling like a dream. Have you ever woken up, but still felt a bit lost in a dream? Like the world outside your window seemed to shimmer, almost unreal. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? We know we're awake. We see, hear, touch. Yet, sometimes, after a vivid dream or in a quiet moment, the line between awake and asleep blurs. Our everyday life can suddenly seem thin, like a whisper or a hazy bubble. This is a big contradiction. How can something so solid feel so fleeting? People have wondered about this for ages. Ancient thinkers, Like Plato imagined, we might be like prisoners in a cave, seeing only shadows and thinking they were real. Later, René Descartes wondered if he was dreaming. Here's the thing, they weren't saying life is a dream, but they explored how hard it is to be totally sure what's real and what's just in our heads. Our experience is always filtered through our minds. Imagine you're totally absorbed in a book, painting, or a favorite song. Time melts away. Your focus is so complete that for moments, everything outside that bubble just fades. When you look up, the clarity of the real world can feel jarring, like you just blinked into a different place. It's a small, everyday example of how our minds can make what's real feel less solid, less certain, and that's why it matters. This feeling isn't about being confused, it's about seeing the world in a new way. It makes us think about what reality truly is, and how much of it lives in our own thoughts. Maybe the beauty of being awake is that it holds a little bit of the dream's magic. It makes our understanding of everything a little more mysterious and wonderful. It teaches us to gently question, not to doubt, but to appreciate the amazing nature of being here. The things we say, the things we mean. Have you ever said something, but deep down, you felt something totally different? Or heard someone speak, and wondered if their words truly matched what was in their heart? This is a core contradiction. The words that leave our lips often aren't the whole story. Language is powerful, but it's also like a mask. We use it to connect and share. But sometimes, what we say is only a small part of a much bigger, more complicated truth hidden inside us. It's about what's spoken versus what's truly felt. For a long time, thinkers wondered about this gap. Ancient Greek philosophers, for instance, talked about appearance and reality. They questioned if what we see and hear is the full picture, or if there's something more profound beneath the surface. It's not just about lying, it's about the many layers of human experience. Think about when someone asks, "How are you?" and you automatically reply, "I'm fine," even if you're feeling worried or sad. Your words are simple, easy, polite, but inside, a whole different storm might be brewing. Or maybe you're playing a video game, and you say, "I'm totally calm," but your hands are sweating, and your heart is racing. The spoken words offer one message, but your body and feelings send another dot. So, here's the thing. Understanding this gap helps us be more thoughtful. It teaches us to listen not just to the words, but to the silence, to the tone, to the feeling behind them. It reminds us that people, including ourselves, are always more complex than the sentences we form. It's a quiet challenge to look beyond the obvious, to seek the deeper currents that flow beneath the surface of everyday talk. And that's why it matters. It helps us truly see each other. Why being lost can be finding. Have you ever felt completely lost? Maybe it was a moment of confusion, like forgetting your way in a new city, or a bigger feeling, like not knowing what you want to do with your life. It feels scary, right? Like you've veered off course. But what if being lost isn't always a bad thing? What if, sometimes, it's exactly where you need to be to discover something new? Here's the thing. Sometimes, when we're lost, our usual paths disappear. The familiar guideposts vanish, and that can make us look around with fresh eyes. We have to pay attention in a different way. We become open to possibilities we never noticed before, simply because we weren't looking for them. Think about ancient explorers, or even scientists. People like Christopher Columbus, who sailed west looking for a route to Asia, but found a new continent instead. He was lost from his intended path, but in that lostness, he stumbled upon something entirely unexpected and vast. Or consider a scientist in a lab. They might be looking for a cure for one disease and accidentally discover something else entirely, like penicillin. Alexander Fleming wasn't looking for penicillin when he found it. He was studying bacteria and noticed something unexpected. His failed experiment led to one of the biggest medical breakthroughs ever. It's a bit like when you're drawing a picture and you make a mistake. Maybe you smudge the pencil or draw a line in the wrong place. But instead of erasing it, you decide to work with it. You turn that smudge into a shadow, or that wrong line becomes part of a new design. Suddenly, the mistake isn't a mistake at all. It's the start of something unique, something you wouldn't have created if everything had gone perfectly to plan. So, the next time you feel a bit lost, whether in a place or in your thoughts, maybe take a deep breath. Allow yourself to be unsure for a moment, because in those moments of not knowing, we often find courage. We find new directions. We find pieces of ourselves we didn't even realize were missing. Being lost can truly be a powerful way of finding your true path. Not the one you expected, but perhaps the one you were meant to walk all along. The good in ending something. Have you ever stopped to wonder if saying goodbye might not always be about sadness? We often see endings as something to dread, a final period at the end of a sentence. We think of loss, of things being over. But what if, deep down, endings are also quiet acts of creation? What if they are necessary steps for new beginnings to take root, allowing for growth that simply couldn't happen otherwise? Here's the thing, everything in life has a cycle. Think about nature. A tree doesn't hold on to its leaves forever, does it? In autumn, they turn golden, then let go. It might seem like a loss, like an end to beauty, but those fallen leaves don't just disappear. They nourish the earth, making it rich and ready for new life to burst forth in spring. This idea isn't new at all. Wise thinkers from long ago, from different cultures around the world, understood this deeply. They believed that for anything truly new and wonderful to appear, something old often has to complete its journey first. It's like a quiet clearing, making space and preparing the ground. Consider something simple from your own life, like finishing a really great book you've loved reading. You might feel a little pang of sadness when you read the very last page, knowing the story is done. But that ending, that final word, is what allows you to pick up another book. It lets you start a brand new adventure, meet new characters, and explore completely different worlds. The old story didn't disappear. It just reached its natural close, leaving you with memories and a fresh desire for what's next. So, maybe an ending isn't a cold, hard wall blocking your path, but a gentle doorway. It's not just about letting go of what was. It's about making, quiet, hopeful, room for what will be. There can be a deep, quiet good in closing a chapter, in reaching a natural conclusion. It allows for rest, for calm reflection on what was learned, and for the gentle, often surprising, unfolding of whatever comes next. This rhythm of ending and beginning is a beautiful, essential part of what it means to live fully. The burden of freedom. Have you ever thought about how much freedom we actually have? It sounds wonderful, right? To be able to choose almost anything, to decide your own path. But here's the thing, sometimes, having all that freedom can feel heavy. It's like a backpack that starts light, but gets heavier with every choice we add. For a long time, people believed our lives were set by fate or a higher power. They thought everything was already decided for us. But over time, thinkers started to wonder if that was really true. What if we are the ones making the choices? What if we're not just following a script, but writing it ourselves, every single day? This idea that we are truly free to choose means we're also responsible for those choices. We can't blame fate anymore. It sounds powerful, and it is, but it also means the weight of what we do or don't do falls on us. Think about a Saturday morning. You wake up, and there's no school, no strict schedule, no chores planned. The whole day stretches out before you, completely empty. For a minute, it feels amazing. You can do anything. Play video games all day, read a book, go outside, build something, learn a new skill online. But after a little while, that blankness can feel a bit scary. What should you do? What's the best thing to do? Suddenly, having endless options becomes a kind of pressure. You might even feel a little stressed, wishing someone would just tell you what to do to fill the day. That feeling is a small taste of the burden of freedom. It's a strange contradiction. We want freedom more than almost anything. We fight for it, but when we have it, truly have it, it can be overwhelming. It means we have to decide who we are, what we value, and what we will do with our time here. And that's okay if it feels big. It just means you're thinking deeply about your own amazing, unique life. Wanting to belong, needing to be unique. Have you ever felt it? This strange, quiet tug-of-war inside you. One part of you desperately wants to fit in, to be part of the group, to feel truly connected, like a thread in a beautiful tapestry. But then, another part whispers, be yourself, be different, don't just be like everyone else. This is a deep contradiction, a constant balancing act at the heart of who we are. This push and pull isn't new. For thousands of years, people have wondered about it. Are we meant to be part of a big, connected family, always moving with the crowd? Or are we each meant to shine brightly as our own unique star? It's a tension that sits right at the heart of being human. We're social creatures, yes, needing friends and community, but we also carry a special, individual spark. Think about music, for instance. Maybe there's a popular song everyone at school loves. You might listen, just to have something to talk about, to feel like part of the group. That's the desire, to belong. But then, you discover a band no one else knows, or you love an old music genre, something that speaks only to your unique taste. That's the need to be unique. Here's the thing, your true self wants to peek out. It's like a quiet revolution, showing the world who you are, even while you value friendships, and that's why it matters. It's not about picking one over the other. It's about understanding both feelings are real, both are important, and both can exist within you. We can belong, and we can be unique, all at the same time. It's about finding that delicate balance, being part of something bigger, while still celebrating the one-of-a-kind person you are. It's okay to want both. It makes us whole. The power of quiet moments. Have you ever noticed how some of the biggest changes happen in the quietest ways? It's a bit of a contradiction, isn't it? We often think power comes from noise and action, but sometimes true strength comes from stillness. Think about the world around you. A tiny seed doesn't burst into a huge tree with a loud bang. It grows in the silent darkness of the soil, slowly pushing its way up. A river carves grand canyons, not with sudden crashes, but with the constant, quiet flow of water over years and years. These powerful, slow transformations show us something important about quiet moments. For a long time, wise thinkers understood this. Ancient philosophers often sought solitude, spending time alone in nature or quiet rooms. They believed that when the world went quiet, their minds could finally hear themselves. New ideas would often bloom in these peaceful spaces, like a flower opening in morning sun. Without distractions, they could sort through thoughts, understand feelings, and see truth more clearly. It's like when you're trying to solve a tricky math problem, or you're feeling confused about something important. If your phone is buzzing and people are talking loudly around you, it's hard to focus, right? But if you go somewhere calm, maybe just your room with the door closed, your brain has space to work. Suddenly, the answer might just click. That quiet time lets your thoughts settle, like dust settling in a room, revealing what was hidden underneath. So, maybe the next time everything feels loud and fast, try finding a moment of quiet, just a few minutes. You might find a kind of power there you never expected. A quiet moment can be a place where clarity lives, where contradictions feel less confusing, and where you can simply be with yourself and grow. Why we love what hurts us, it's a strange thing, isn't it? Why do we sometimes find ourselves drawn to feelings or experiences that cause us pain? Think about listening to a sad song on purpose when you're already feeling down, or watching a movie that you know will make you cry. It doesn't seem to make sense, but there's a quiet truth hidden there. For a long, long time, people have thought about this. Ancient thinkers realized that sometimes facing what's hard or uncomfortable can make us stronger. It's like a tough workout. Your muscles ache, but that pain helps them grow. We learn something important about ourselves when we don't turn away from difficulty. Maybe it's a feeling of being truly alive, feeling the full range of emotions, not just the easy ones. Here's the thing. Sometimes, what hurts us also helps us feel. It helps us know we're not alone in our struggles. When we listen to that sad song, the music understands us, and it gives a shape to our own quiet ache. It's like the song is saying, I get it, you're feeling this, and that's okay. And sometimes, by letting ourselves feel that sadness, we can move through it. It's a way of processing emotions, like cleaning out a room so new feelings have space to come in. This kind of feeling, this leaning into the difficult parts, shows us something deep about being human. It means we're complex. We're not just chasing happiness, we're also searching for meaning, for understanding, and for connection, even in the hard places. We learn that sometimes, the very things that cause us sorrow can open our hearts wider, making us more able to feel empathy for others, and more grateful for the quiet moments of joy that always follow. It's how we grow our souls. The strength of being gentle. Could true strength be something quiet, something soft? We often think of strength as loud, something that pushes and wins by force. But here's the thing. Sometimes, the most powerful forces are the ones that seem the most gentle. Gentleness isn't weakness. It's a choice, a deep, calm power that doesn't need to shout. It's patience, understanding, a way to find paths without destroying. It's a quiet wisdom, often hidden. Ancient thinkers from China watched the world closely. They noticed how water, so soft and flowing, could slowly carve canyons from solid rock. A single drop can't hurt a stone, but countless drops, over time, acting gently, wear it down. It's not how hard the water hits, but how steadily and softly it touches. This idea holds a powerful secret. Gentleness often lasts longer and achieves more than harshness. Imagine trying to untangle a knot in a shoelace. If you pull hard, it often gets tighter, right? But if you take your time, gently wiggling each loop, patiently teasing it apart, the knot eventually loosens. That soft touch, that gentle persistence, is far more effective than brute force. So, maybe strength isn't just how much you can lift or how loud you are. It's also how much you can understand, how much you can bend without breaking. It's the quiet courage to be kind, even when it feels harder. It's a strength that helps things grow, instead of tearing them down. It's a gentle power that changes hearts, not just shapes. The easy path, the right path. Do you ever find yourself choosing the simpler way, even when you know there's a better one? We all do. There's the easy path. This is the way of least effort, a shortcut, or just going along with what's comfortable. It's about convenience, doing what feels good right now. Then there's the right path. This one is rarely easy. It asks for more courage, more honesty, and more effort. It means choosing kindness even when it's hard, or speaking your truth. This path is about integrity, about doing what you truly believe is good, even if it's difficult. And the truth is, the easy way and the right way often lead in opposite directions. People have thought about this for centuries. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Aristotle, talked about virtue. They believed that real happiness came from living a life of good, strong choices. They taught that we build our character by making these right decisions, building inner strength, piece by piece. Think about a big school project. The easy path might be to let your groupmates do all the hard work, or rush through it at the last minute. But the right path is to do your share, contribute your best ideas, and put in the effort. It might take more time after school, or require you to learn new things. But when that project is done, and you know you truly gave it your all, there's a deep, quiet sense of pride. That feeling is the reward of the right path. Choosing the right way isn't about being perfect all the time. It's about listening to that quiet voice inside you, the one that knows what's good and true. Every time you choose the harder right path, you're not just doing a task, you are shaping the person you are becoming. And that self-respect, that inner knowing, is a real treasure. Being a child, acting grown up, have you ever felt caught between two worlds? Like one moment, you're laughing at something silly, lost in a game, and the next, you're trying to sound serious, using bigger words, hoping to seem more grown-up. It's a strange dance, isn't it? This feeling of being a child on the inside, with wonder and innocence, while trying so hard to act like an adult, with seriousness and responsibility. Here's the thing, this isn't a new feeling. For centuries, people have talked about life's stages. Ancient thinkers described life as a journey from youth to old age. But even back then, people knew it wasn't a neat line. Children would mimic adults, playing house or jobs. And adults sometimes longed for the simple joys of being young, free from worries. It's like we reach for what's next, but also hold on to what was. Imagine a sapling, a young tree. It's tiny, flexible, swaying, but it's already pushing its roots deep, reaching its branches up, trying to grow tall like the old oak next to it. It's not an oak yet, but it's practicing being one. It's still so new, but its whole purpose is to become something bigger, more solid. Just like us, we're learning, testing out who we might become. We try on different ideas of ourselves, like trying on clothes that are a little too big, and that's why it matters. This contradiction, this pull between who we are and who we want to be, teaches us, shows us, that growing up isn't just about getting older. It's about figuring out which parts of childhood to keep, the curiosity, the joy, the playfulness, and which parts of adulthood to embrace, the kindness, the courage, the care. It's a quiet search for balance, where we can be both. Truly, it's okay to have that child inside, even as we reach for the sky. The joy of letting go. Have you ever felt the real weight of something you were holding on to? Not a heavy backpack, but something inside you. Maybe it's a mistake that keeps replaying, or a disagreement with a friend that won't fade. Sometimes, we grip these thoughts and feelings so tightly, they can make our chests feel tight, or our minds cloudy. But what if there was another way? Here's the thing. There's a quiet power, a deep and surprising joy, in choosing to let go. It doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you're deciding not to let something control you. Think of a kite in a strong wind. If you hold the string too tightly, you might get pulled, but if you ease your grip, letting the wind carry it, the kite can truly soar. Ancient thinkers from Greece and Asia talked about this idea. They noticed many worries came from wishing things were different, or from clinging to the past. They understood life is always changing, like a river flowing. You can't hold water in a river. They taught that letting go of what you can't control and accepting things leads to a deeper peace. Imagine carrying a heavy stone. The longer you hold it, the heavier it feels. Your hand aches. You can't use that hand for anything else. Then, you slowly open your fingers. You let the stone drop. What happens? Your hand feels light, free. You can stretch your fingers, or just rest. That feeling of lightness is a tiny glimpse of the joy of letting go in our minds and hearts. It's not about forgetting. It's about making space. It's giving yourself permission to breathe, to look forward, to grow. When you release the grip on old hurts or future fears, a different kind of quiet settles within you. It's a calm feeling, like the hush of a forest at dawn, and in that quiet, you might just find a new kind of strength and a clear path forward, waiting. Why we remember what we try to forget. Have you ever tried really hard to forget something? Maybe a small mistake you made, or an embarrassing moment from school. The harder you push it away, the more it seems to stick, like glue to your thoughts. It's a strange thing, isn't it? The very act of trying to erase a memory often makes it clearer, more persistent. Think about it this way. If I tell you, don't think about a bright blue car, what's the first thing your mind probably pictures? A bright blue car. Our brains are a bit like that. When we label something as to be forgotten, our mind, in its strange wisdom, gives it special attention. It's almost as if it's saying, this must be important if you're trying so hard to hide it. For centuries, thinkers have noticed this odd human tendency. The ancient philosophers understood that trying to suppress a feeling or a thought often gives it more power. It's like trying to hold a bouncy ball underwater. The harder you push it down, the more forcefully it springs back up. In a quiet way, our minds resist being completely controlled. They hold on to these bits and pieces, perhaps because every experience, good or bad, is part of who we are becoming. So why do we remember what we try to forget? Maybe it's not a flaw, but a feature. These unwanted memories, these echoes of past hurts or embarrassing moments, they teach us. They remind us of lessons learned, of growth that happened. Instead of battling them, perhaps we can gently acknowledge them, see them not as enemies, but as quiet parts of our journey, showing us how far we've come. These memories are not just burdens, they are whispers of our past, helping us understand our present. The way things are, the way they should behave. You ever stood in a quiet moment and felt a soft tug inside, a sense that something wasn't quite how it should be, or that it could be better? That feeling points to one of the most powerful contradictions. At the heart of our lives, the difference between the way things are and the way they should be. The way things are is reality. Right now, it's the messy room, the quiet disappointment, the unfair grade, or the polluted river. It's the world with all its edges, its problems, and its simple facts. But then there's the way they should be. This is our ideal, our hope, the quiet whisper of what's fair, what's beautiful, what's just. It's the clean room, the kind word, the perfect harmony we imagine. For thousands of years, thinkers and poets across different cultures have wrestled with this gap. They've wondered why things aren't always perfect, and what it means to live in a world that often falls short of our dreams. It's not about being negative. It's about a deep human yearning for something more, for a world that feels right. Here's an example you might know. Imagine a local park that was once beautiful, full of green trees and clean paths, but over time, it's become run down. Litter is scattered, swings are broken, and the grass is overgrown. That's the way things are. But when you look at it, you can easily picture the way it should be, a vibrant place, full of laughter and nature, just like it once was, or how it could be if everyone cared. That picture in your mind is your ideal. This contradiction, this constant push and pull between what is and what we wish for, is a powerful force. It's not just a problem to solve. It's often the spark that ignites our hope, our creativity, and our desire to make things better. It reminds us that we carry a blueprint for a more beautiful, more just world inside us, urging us to try, even in small ways, to bridge that gap. The beauty of brokenness. Have you ever looked at something a little broken, like an old, worn book, and felt it had a deeper story, more character, than something brand new? It's a strange thought, but sometimes what we see as broken isn't the end, it's actually a beginning, or a chance for a different kind of beauty to show up. It's about how cracks can let light in. Instead of just showing damage, don't think about the ancient Japanese art called kintsugi. This is where artists take broken pottery pieces and carefully put them back together, but they don't hide the cracks. Instead, they mend them with a special gold lacquer. The idea is that the repaired object is now even more beautiful and valuable because of its history. The gold lines highlight its journey, its past breaks, and its healing. It's a way of saying that imperfection and damage are not things to be ashamed of. They are part of the object's unique story. They make it richer. Here's single quotes as the thing. This idea isn't just for pottery, it's true for us too. Remember a time you made a big mistake, or something tough happened, and you felt really down, maybe even a little broken. Like when you tried something new and failed, or argued with a friend, you might have felt like you were messed up. But then, you picked yourself up. You learned something important from that moment. You grew. Those experiences, those cracks in your own life, they shaped you. They taught you about strength, forgiveness, or resilience. So the idea is that our own challenges, our own broken places, aren't weaknesses to hide. They are parts of our unique story. They show where we've been, how we've healed, and how we've become stronger. They are what make each of us wonderfully real and truly beautiful. Being brave and being afraid. Have you ever felt your stomach flutter, a cold not tightening, right before you had to do something important? That's fear. It's a powerful, overwhelming part of being human. But here's the beautiful truth. Bravery isn't about not feeling that. It means you feel it, and you still choose to step forward. This idea, that courage isn't the absence of fear, but facing it, has been talked about for ages. Ancient thinkers knew bravery wasn't about being a superhero without worries. It was about facing inner whispers of doubt, then choosing to walk towards what needs doing. True strength, they taught, comes from acting despite your fear. Think about standing on the edge of something new. Maybe it was trying out for a play, or speaking up in class, or going to a new school event. Your heart probably thumped like a drum. Your mind might have screamed, "Stop, just stay quiet." That fear is real. It's your body saying, "This is big." But then, you take a deep breath. You step onto the stage, raise your hand, or walk into that noisy gym. That simple choice to move despite the fear, that's where bravery lives. It's the quiet strength walking hand in hand with a trembling heart. So, fear and bravery aren't opposites. They are often companions. Fear shows us where our limits seem to be. Bravery is the gentle push to see what lies beyond. To feel afraid is not a weakness. It's an invitation to be brave, one small, true step at a time, showing yourself what you are truly capable of. The promise of a cloudy day. Have you ever looked out the window on a grey, cloudy morning and felt a little disappointed? We often wish for bright, sunny skies, don't we? Our minds are trained to see sunshine as good and clouds as, well, less good. But here's the thing to think about. What if that cloudy day, that soft, diffused light, holds its own kind of deep promise? It feels like a contradiction, right? A cloudy day seems to take something away from us. It hides the direct sunlight, makes things feel a little dim. Yet, this very taking away often gives us something incredibly important. Think about it. Without clouds gathering and rain falling, our world would be a very dry, empty place. The sun is powerful, amazing, but too much of it can dry everything out. The clouds, in their quiet way, act like a gentle shield and a generous giver, bringing the life-giving water that helps everything grow. They are essential for forests, for the food we eat, for the water we drink. People have thought about ideas like this for a long, long time. In many different cultures, they understood that even what seems like a lack or an opposite can be vital. It's like how an artist uses empty space on a canvas. That empty space isn't nothing. It's crucial. It helps define the shape of everything else in the painting, giving the main subjects room to breathe and stand out. Or, think about a quiet moment. No loud noises, no urgent messages, no rush. That quiet isn't just an absence of sound. It's a profound chance to hear your own thoughts clearly, to rest deeply, to let new creative ideas gently bubble up. So, A cloudy day is far more than just a day without sun. It's a day preparing for essential rain, cooling the air, letting the earth breathe. It offers a different kind of light for photographs, a cozy feeling for reading indoors. It reminds us that things aren't always what they seem at first glance. Sometimes, the things we think are missing are actually making way for something vital, something beautiful, something we truly need. The less desirable part of a moment often holds a hidden good, a quiet strength. If we just look closer and change our view, it teaches us to find value and even a peaceful beauty in every kind of day, in every kind of experience. Why we look for answers in questions. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the question itself feels more important than finding a quick answer? It's like exploring a quiet forest. You're not just trying to find your way out, you're trying to understand the trees, the sounds, the way the light falls. This feeling, this deep pull, is why we spend so much time with big questions about life, the universe, and ourselves. Here's the thing, humans are naturally curious. We've always been question askers. Think about ancient Greek thinkers, like Socrates. He wasn't famous for having all the answers. Instead, he was known for asking brilliant, challenging questions that made people think. He believed that by asking and discussing, we could get closer to understanding truth, even if we never fully reached it. The journey of thinking deeply was what mattered, not just a final answer. It's a bit like a detective solving a mystery. A good detective doesn't just guess, they ask many questions. Who was there? What happened before? What does this clue mean? Each question isn't just for a factual answer. It's about opening up new ways of looking at the situation. These questions guide the whole investigation, revealing layers you might never see. So, when we face the big contradictions of existence, those puzzling ideas that seem to pull in two directions, we don't just shut down. We ask, we wonder, we look for answers, not just to fill a blank space. The act of questioning helps us understand the world, and our own place in it, a little bit better. It helps us grow, even when clear answers stay hidden, swirling like mist. The real beauty is in the seeking. The calmness in a busy mind. The calmness in a busy mind. Have you ever noticed how busy your mind can get? Like a whole city buzzing inside your head, with thoughts and feelings rushing like traffic. But here's the thing, even in that big, bustling city, can there be a quiet street? A peaceful park, a place where the noise softens. This is the heart of it, finding stillness, not by stopping the noise, but by recognizing it exists with the noise. Even when your thoughts are a whirlwind of school, friends, and dreams, there's a steady, calm part of you. Think of it like a deep, quiet pool beneath a stormy surface. It's not about wishing thoughts away, but finding a soft space right alongside them. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this. Ancient wisdom from different parts of the world talked about finding an inner refuge. Old traditions, like the Stoics or wise Eastern teachers, often spoke of a core peace that belongs to you. They didn't see calm as an escape, but as something already woven into who we are. This quiet knowing, they believed, could guide us through life's loudest moments. Imagine a big lake on a windy day. The surface is all ripples and waves, reflecting the sky in a broken way. That's like our busy mind, disturbed by worries or excitement. But if you look deeper, below the surface, the water is still and clear. Fish swim calmly. That deep, clear water is like the quiet center inside you. The ripples don't change the stillness underneath. So, the next time your mind feels like a wild ocean, remember the calm depths beneath. That quiet, steady part of you is always there, a gentle anchor in the storm of thoughts. It's not something you have to create, but something you can simply notice. Recognizing this inner peace helps you navigate all the busyness, moving through life with more grace and calm. Being yourself, wanting to be someone else. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wished you were someone else? Maybe taller, or funnier, or better at drawing. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? On one hand, we know ourselves, our quirks, our thoughts, our secret dreams. This is us. But then, there's this other feeling, a quiet whisper that says, what if I could be different? What if I could be more like that person I admire? This feeling, this pull, is a deep contradiction. It's about being who you are, right now, with all your unique qualities, but also wanting to transform. People have thought about this for a very long time. Even ancient philosophers wondered what it means to truly know yourself. They talked about growing into the best version of yourself, but always starting from who you are. It's not about erasing yourself. It's about building from your own roots, like a tree becoming stronger. Think about how we act online sometimes. We might show a perfect version of ourselves, or act a certain way to fit in. We want to be liked, to be seen as cool, and sometimes that means putting aside parts of who we truly are, or pretending to be someone we're not. It's like wearing a mask that belongs to someone else, hoping it will make us feel right. But often, it just makes us feel a little lost. Here's the thing. Wanting to improve is good, but wanting to be someone else entirely can be tricky. The quiet truth is that the world needs you exactly as you are, with all your specific strengths and struggles. Finding that balance, accepting your real self, while gently reaching for growth, that's a journey many of us are on. It's about letting your own light shine, not trying to borrow someone else's, and that's a powerful, beautiful thing. The warmth of cold facts. Have you ever considered how sometimes the most unyielding truths, the cold facts we might want to avoid, can actually offer a strange, deep sense of comfort? We often picture facts as hard, sharp things, like scientific data or a date in history. They don't bend, they don't change, and sometimes they can feel a little bit, well, chilling. But here's something to think about. Letting a difficult truth settle in can feel like warmth spreading through you, a quiet peace. Imagine this. Maybe you've been feeling really confused about something happening in your life, something that just doesn't make sense. You've been guessing, maybe hoping for a different answer. Then, suddenly, a clear fact comes out. Maybe it's not the answer you wanted. It might even feel a little harsh. But in that very moment, the fog lifts. The uncertainty, the endless wondering, the tangled thoughts, they all start to unwind. And in that clearing, even if the truth is tough, there's a quiet click of understanding, a sigh of relief. That relief, that certainty, is the warmth of a cold fact. For a very long time, thinkers in ancient Greece and Rome, people we call Stoics, explored this very idea. They believed that true strength and a peaceful mind came from looking reality right in the eye. They knew that trying to ignore what is true, or wishing things were different, only caused more pain. But if you could accept what was real, even if it was hard, you became free. You weren't fighting against the world anymore. It's like realizing gravity exists. You could wish you could fly, or you could simply understand it, and then figure out how to build a bridge or a strong house. So this strange contradiction, finding comfort in something unwavering and often difficult, shows us a powerful secret. Truth, even when it's plain and unadorned, is rarely something to be truly afraid of. Sometimes, it's the very foundation that allows us to stand steady, to breathe freely, and to build a life that feels honest and truly ours. It's about finding a calm center, not by pretending, but by bravely embracing every part of what is real. While less can be so much more, have you ever noticed how sometimes, when you have less, you actually feel like you have more? It might seem like a strange idea, because we often think more stuff, more activities, more of everything, means better. But here's the thing, it's often the opposite. This isn't about being poor or doing without. It's about something deeper. When your room is cluttered, or your mind is full of too many thoughts, it can feel heavy. But when you clear things away, make space, suddenly there's room. Room for quiet, for clarity, for the things that truly matter to shine. Wise thinkers from long ago, in places like ancient Greece or far-off eastern lands, often talked about this. They weren't focused on owning a lot. Instead, they believed true richness came from needing less. They taught that simplifying life could bring a calm happiness, a kind of freedom you couldn't buy. It's about finding strength in what is simple and direct. Think about a powerful photograph. Often the most striking pictures aren't ones with a million things going on. Instead, they might show just one person, or a single tree against a wide sky. With less to distract your eye, that one thing becomes incredibly strong, full of meaning. Your mind isn't jumping from place to place, it's focused, truly seeing. This helps you understand on a deeper level. So, this idea that less is more isn't about losing out, it's about gaining focus, gaining peace, gaining a deeper appreciation for what really counts. When you quiet the noise and reduce the clutter, the truly important things can finally be heard, loud and clear, and that's why it matters. It lets us truly connect with the heart of existence. The end, that's just the start. Have you ever stopped to think about endings? We often see them as final, like a door slamming shut. But what if an end isn't just an end? What if it's a secret beginning, waiting to unfold? Here's the thing. Many of the deepest contradictions in life show us that something finishing often clears the path for something entirely new. The universe is always recycling itself, always transforming. Think about nature. When autumn arrives, leaves turn bright, colors then fall from the trees. It looks like an end for those leaves, but as they fall, they break down, adding rich nutrients back into the soil. This decay isn't truly an end. It's a vital part of the soil getting ready for new growth in spring. It's a quiet promise of life to come. Many ancient cultures understood this deep truth about cycles. They saw life and death not as opposites, but as parts of the same never-ending dance. They knew that endings were just moments of change, making space for new life, new ideas. Consider this in your own life. Remember when a favorite TV show ended? It might have felt sad, like something was gone. But then, maybe you found a new show that became just as special. Or you started reading a new series of books. The end of one story opened the door to another. It's the same when you finish a school year. The end of 7th grade feels big, but it's just the beginning of 8th grade. That transition is where new learning and friendship start. So, maybe endings aren't to be feared. They can be like turning a page. They can hold quiet hope, a hint of what's next. Every goodbye holds the chance of a hello. And that's why it matters to see the beauty in every shift, every moment where one chapter closes and another begins.